Welcome back, golan-globus Theater. Death Wish Month continues. We're going to be dealing with a lot more giggling
rapists.
Yes.
I think this is our last rape movie, though. I think 4 and 5, there's no rape. So we only have to endure one more disturbing rape scene. Free and clear.
One more movie, because there's 2 disturbing rapes in this movie. Oh my God. It's just such a throwaway for the Death Wish crew. It's just like, just throw a rape in there. That'll motivate everybody. Like, why is that just so cavalier?
Because you guys thought, you and Joe last week thought the first one, this was way more disturbing to me than the first rape scene.
There's no spray paint. You thought the spray paint was okay. You were just like,
these are art when you put paint
these are boys being boys.
Yeah.
You saw this one, you're like, no.
When I saw a guy with a purposeful skullet, I was disturbed immediately, and no eyebrows. So I was like,
I saw that you fixed the name in there. I thought that guy's name was Punk Cut with the mullet.
I could see why you would.
Punk. It's a punk cut.
Yeah.
Haircut. No,
he was Stomper.
I'm very disappointed by that.
What I'm not disappointed about, Griff, we all know, not only is this Death Wish month, this is guest month. We're having a guest for every single, and we said last week, whoever gets the lowest amount of downloads in the first week is banished forever. You can never come on the show ever again.
That's right. So
the competition's fierce. People are sweating. They're like, no, I'm going to win. I don't know. After I looked at the numbers Joe from last week had, I don't know if anyone's going to touch him. I think he's safe.
He's been a nervous wreck all week. He's been texting me just like, how am I doing? How am I doing? He wants to get back in here. He's like, I got to do Street Fighter. I got to do this. I got to do that.
Like, I think I can do better. Can we do it again? No. You get one shot.
We're right off 8 Mile. We live by the 8 Mile rule. You get one shot. Do not miss your chance to blow. Something.
Whatever the fuck he says. This week, Griff, we got a very special guest. This is fresh meat. New. I've known him for a while on Twitter, but this is his first time appearing on our show. And he's got many a story to tell about Death Wish 2. He's got the inside info. I want to introduce everybody. You might know him on Twitter as your Canadian girlfriend, but we know him as Joe Corey. Joe, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, and I'm here to enjoy the death wishiness of it all.
Oh, there's so much death wishiness happening here. It's like the perfect hour, 25 minute. I mean,
love that.
Do you also miss that art of a 90-minute movie? Is that something that only I complain about, or I should say we complain about, or do you think we're right in that modern movies just are too long these days, Joe?
They're too long, man. They're you're sitting there going, I think the problem is they charge so much for a ticket, you expect more. It's like, let me give you a 4-hour movie for your $14 ticket and your $30 ball of thing of popcorn, right?
Right.
And so
gotta make it.
I get it. Good.
But on the other hand, being a lover of double features, I hate it because I'm like, no one's gonna double feature 2-3-hour films.
Yeah. Oh man, double features are great too. Like being able to go see a couple of like hour and 10-minute movies. And with an intermission. Oh man, I'd do that all day.
I mean, I you know what got me upset because I guess people were hyping it was the anniversary of Tarantino and Rodriguez's Grindhouse film. I don't know if you remember that one.
Yeah,
I do. Yeah.
And then each one of them decided, oh no, we need to make our films longer. And honestly, both films stunk. After they added in half hour, 40 minutes, it was like, no, it was not worth it. It was not worth it. Give me your 2.5 hour film, double film package with the bonus stuff, and I'm good. I don't need to watch more of the rest of your film.
Right.
Yeah, I think Death Proof, was that the Tarantino? That's my least favorite Tarantino film.
Yeah, there was Planet Terror or something.
Planet Terror. I can't say I liked it, but I think Rodriguez nailed the feel of what they were trying to do. Tarantino was just doing his thing.
Yeah,
it's
right. I mean,
the only thing good about.
Go ahead, Joe.
Oh, I was going to say the problem with Tarantino is he pays tribute to these genres that had 80-minute films by doing 4-hour movies.
Yeah,
and it's just it's boring conversations. I mean, Kurt Russell as always was great, and his scenes were great.
Yeah,
but everything else I don't want to see any of this shit.
Yeah, that was in my early days of movie watching, and holy shit, I was watching that. I was like, what's supposed to be good about this? I was having a very hard time with it. I wasn't even in love with Kurt Russell yet, so I was having even harder of a time with it. But I like that we brought up these double features and just this whole prior movie experience, because it was so much cooler. And you mentioned this, you've written yourself quite a nice little fantasy booking of a movie experience, a whole, what was it, like a 2-week period you wrote about, and you have like movies every night.
It's the Obscurecon 80s Teen Flick Film Festival that I made up when they canceled every film festival I was going to go to this summer, or last summer, I should say.
Oh, that makes perfect sense. I was having the same treacherous memories of all the concerts I was supposed to go to. Yeah.
Like I'm stuck at home, let me just write my own film guidebook, my for a festival. And so, 11 days, bunch of double features, triple features,
quadruple feature the one day.
I believe I did go for 4. Because you gotta get all the John Hughes movies out if you're going to do a teen flick film festival book.
Right. I like this whole idea because of the shared experience of seeing those movies. Like, I imagine being in the area you have a lot of small theaters. Do you get to go visit them and go see like small theaters doing like these older movies and stuff?
I do. Well, see, down here in Raleigh, in the Raleigh area, Raleigh, Durham, and Chapel Hill together. But we have a buddy of mine. He does what's known as Cinema Overdrive around here, Adam Hewlin. And he will book in just the strangest, most bizarre, brilliant stuff. And we have an Alamo. Actually, I have an Alamo about 2 blocks away from my house where he does it occasionally. And then there's the Carolina Theater in Durham where he does it. And we've run everything, a lot of like Ms. 45, a lot of John Carpenter stuff. Just anything we can get our hands on. Or he can get his hands on. I've gotten to guest host it, so that's why I can say we occasionally. But yeah,
okay.
It is, if you're in the Triangle, hopefully when movies come back, he'll be there. Dolomite, we ran Dolomite and Disco.
Oh, good one.
You can't, you just
weight on it.
Put your weight on it. And the sad part, because we both went to School of the Arts, North Carolina School of the Arts in Winston-Salem, and one of the guys who taught cinematography when we were there was Arledge Amanaki, and he was the DP on Disco Godfather.
Oh, nice.
And I like the fact that I get to tell people when they ask, who trained you for photography? And I go, the man who shot Disco Godfather. So shut up. It's like,
oh God. Is that?
Yeah.
I have Disco Godfather, the laser disc. I think it's the soundtrack on my wall in the background here. Oh man, Disco Godfather.
Disco. Bucky, what have you done?
I know. I stopped doing PCP thanks to that movie. I was like, shit, I didn't know I was ruining my life.
Oh, my God.
I was having a good time.
I stopped the whack, man. I had to stop the whack. Or whack the stop. I can't remember which it is.
Yeah. I really do hope that we get our theaters going here, by fall, I would hope,
I think summer.
You think summer?
I think, because they want to make that fucking money, that Marvel movie money.
You got to make the Marvel movie. Well, I'm more worried about the small theater. I want to go back to the Redford Theater more so than I want to go down the street and see a 3-hour reboot of Escape from New York, with Kurt Russell's son, Lars Russell.
Yes, are we allowed to trash the Winter Soldier and Falcon movie? Or TV show. I'm sorry, it's a movie that they just decided here's where the commercial breaks go. That's it. We're gonna stop it here and we'll restart it here because we're bored.
If you want, you can save that hate for a segment I'm about to do here in a moment.
Uh-oh.
Because you can save it and you can fall back on that if you can't think of anything else, and we'll go right into that segment. And
before we get into it, I have one question I got to ask Joe.
Yeah.
How the fuck do you know the cowboy from the Village People?
Okay, so this is it. Okay, when I was a kid, years and years as I was a kid, and the Village People record came out, if you flipped the back of the Macho Man record, it said Randy Jones from Raleigh, North Carolina. And I lived in North Carolina, although I was in Fayetteville at the time. And I said, you know what? Someday I want to meet this guy because he's from North Carolina, right?
Right.
And then it turns out he went to Broughton High, but then he went to School of the Arts, North Carolina School of the Arts. He's a graduate from one of the early years there. And I joked one time online, and I didn't get to meet him while I was there, but I joked one time online about how I was living in the shadow of the Cowboy of the Village people because I actually lived across the street from the high school he went to and all this other stuff. And he writes me back. And
wow.
and then he came down. He was doing a film festival. It was a gay film festival in Durham. So he invited me over to meet him and stuff. And we ended up talking for a bit. And he kept saying, we need to work on something. And I was like, okay, and I would throw some goofy ideas at him for, like RuPaul's Drag Race for cowboys or something, because he knew those guys, and it didn't work out. But then I was like, I came up with the show of, finding the bad lessons in educational films, and I was supposed to have somebody else host it, and just for oddsness, I sent him a copy of what we were doing, and he immediately writes me back going, I want to host it. I was like, well, I don't have any money. And he's like, okay, I want to host it. And I was like, sure. So, and this is the oddest, weird part of it. So I invite him. I instead of renting a space or anything like that, because we're low to the bone, and I have a large television. I'm like, instead of getting green screen, I'm just going to stick him in front of the TV set and run stuff behind him and videotape that completely. No post production, no nothing. And he's like, okay, I'll come to your house. He shows up at my house and he's looking around because it turns out he used to come on my street and play when he was a kid. Because I live like, basically the other side of a baseball park from where he grew up, where his house was, where his parents' house was.
Wow.
And so it was just that hilarious, weird moment of, well, you're still playing and you're in the neighborhood. So it was he's a great guy, man. He's, just fun to be around. And I swear to God, we went out one time for, to meet up before we shot. We went to this restaurant, and he knew everyone in the restaurant or he knew someone he knew in the restaurant. It was like Kevin Bacon time. Everything, oh, wait, I know so-and-so. And you're just like, wow, how to be this connected. And for those of you curious, he does still, he did live in the village. He lives in the village in New York City still. He's the only member, I think, that has been a resident of the village for all these years.
Keeping it real.
I like that.
Please tell me he always dresses like a cowboy, does he? Is he always in cowboy gear? Pretty much.
At least he's wearing some sort of either cowboy hat or he's got some sort of, field cowboy kind of thing, the plaids and stuff. But, and I joked with him. I said, look, you chose wisely, because I don't think you could get around, you could walk around looking like a construction guy and be normal. Or the leather guy. The leather guy's going to stick out going through the airport. Somebody's going to wand you at some point. But just this most wonderful guy. If you ever get a chance, and he still performs. He does like disco nights and stuff. And we're actually back to Winston-Salem. They're starting a minor league baseball team called the Disco Peacocks.
Oh, that sounds great.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I blew the joke. It's called the Disco Turkeys because around here they joke that peacocks are disco turkeys, and so and I'm trying to get him hooked up with the team so that he could do like throw the baseball out and do some other stuff, lead the crowd in YMCA and stuff like that, because he does that in New York City a lot. He used to do it at Yankees games. He'd come out and be the special guest for when they did YMCA at some point in the game.
Oh, it sounds like it'd be an awesome connection, and not to mention disco. The disco turkey, was it?
Disco turkeys. If you go online, look up their logo. It basically is a peacock in John Travolta's Saturday Night Fever wardrobe with his finger up, and then he's holding a bat with the other hand.
I was just gonna say, there's got to be a great logo, and I'm so thrilled that exists already. I'm writing it down so I can check on that later.
It is. It just, I don't even care how the team does. I just want a shirt.
All right, enough good times here, guys. Look, here's the problem with today's society. We're canceling everything. Everybody's got a list of what they're canceling. Abortions are being called canceling babies now. That's the new. We're canceling babies. So I've gone ahead and put a little list together. I'll read out a couple. You guys think of one thing you want to cancel out here, okay? Starting with Little Caesars. for claiming in their advertisements to be not big time pizza, but the little guy's pizza. What the fuck is this ad campaign, Murray? They're like international.
But they have little in their title.
But they have little in their title.
Technically, they are little.
Yeah. That commercial infuriates me, so I'm canceling it. It's done.
I can't cancel them because they sent me a free T-shirt years ago. Remember when they had that Nuts Von Crazy guy? And I asked them online, hey, can you send me a T-shirt? And they did. So they've got a personal touch. They have a personal touch. So
we found out Joe can be bought with
I was
a
just
T-shirt.
going to say Joe can be bought for a T-shirt. All right.
I'm just saying because Domino's Pizza never sent me a Noid shirt. So you know what? They don't have a small touch. They don't have the small touch.
Another local pizza place.
Yeah. We're the birthplace of shitty
chain pizza.
Yeah.
What did you people do to get that? It's like,
I don't know.
Yeah,
it's not even Detroit style pizza.
Right. It's just pan style pizza.
Yeah.
So
weird.
It's something.
I don't know. It is weird.
Next thing I'm canceling: quick cuts in TV and movie shows.
I agree with that.
TV shows and movies.
I would cut that.
You'd cut that. I'd cut that.
No pun intended.
Gone and
all right, here's my last one. So you guys, you're on deck. You got to have one thing to cancel here. The last thing I'm canceling here is sandwiches. No longer can meats, cheeses, veggies, spreads, oils be combined in between two pieces of bread. No longer. Subway gone. Firehouse subs gone. All these
Jimmy John's
gone. Potbelly's gone.
Jersey Mike's
gone.
What is up with all these sandwich shops coming up?
That's why I'm infuriated. Get rid of them.
You know what I'm going to cancel? Your cancellation of sandwiches. The sandwiches are the greatest meal of all time. You have all your 4 basic food groups in the palm of your hand, literally.
Son of a bitch. I should have said no double cancels or something.
You didn't.
Oh.
All right, Joe, it's your turn. What are you canceling?
Deer. I'm just going to cancel deer. They drive me nuts here.
Oh, I got deer in my backyard.
I can't grow anything in my house because they'll eat it. That's it. As soon as anything with color pops up, it's gone. It's eaten. It's deer. Damn wildlife.
And you know what? They're afraid to get on Twitter, so we can't even tweet at them.
No, they're
can't even tweet at the deer.
They're bad as the Amish. Amish Twitter, worst thing in the world. I'm canceling that too. Amish Twitter and Amish Talk Radio, they're worst. They're so snobby.
Love it. Everybody,
we're not,
you heard it here.
We're not taking calls and we're not going on the air. We're Amish Talk Radio. Just feel it in the air.
We have one more honorary cancellation that I think I know me and Murray will agree on. Robert Ginty, you're done. Wherever you are today, you're done.
Yes, you should be erased from history. Scrubbed.
Oh, poor Robert. He's probably at home listening on his transistor radio going, why me?
Well, unfortunately, he's dead. I wish he was alive and he could feel our hate. But no, he's dead. So if you're
Are we sure? Because only his agent knows if he's truly dead. He can still get bookings.
Cancel his death and then cancel his life.
That's it.
I feel great exercising all those demons.
I know.
I don't know if I want to even talk about that.
We had some fun. We got anger out. So now I think, Murray, we're ready.
Ready for the trailer?
I think we're ready.
Well, if you listen to that rambling we just did for 15, 20 minutes, you must have a death wish. Well, we have a death wish too. See what I did there?
It happened once before.
Some muggers followed my wife and daughter home from the market.
It's about to happen again.
The police there got a very good description of the muggers, too. But it didn't do any good.
We do what we can.
And so does he.
Is this your daughter, Mr. Kersey? Mr. Kersey, is that Carol?
When murder and rape are the crimes, Bronson is the only punishment. Charles Bronson, Death Wish 2.
There's something else you should know, sir. Paul Kersey now lives in Los Angeles.
Oh, my God.
Now you tell me there's a vigilante out there.
You believe in Jesus?
Yes, I do.
Well, you're going to meet him.
He killed 9 people in New York City. 4 years ago. The people he killed were muggers. He became a hero.
What did he look like?
He was a very good citizen, that's what he was. That guy saved our lives, damn it. Where the hell were you guys, giving out parking tickets?
When violence rules the city, when the police can't stop it, one man will, his way.
Watch out!
Charles Bronson.
Goodbye.
Death Wish 2. He's doing it for you.
And welcome back. You probably heard a great jam in that trailer because I don't know how this happened. I have a feeling Joe can help us out here. But first movie, soundtrack, Herbie Hancock. Second movie, Jimmy Page. Joe, what's going on here?
Okay, well, now this is from Julian, because one of the guys who edited the film with Arnold Crust, we'll get to that later, is Julian Smillian, who was actually a guy I worked with at the North Carolina School of the Arts. After I graduated, he came in to be an editor there, and he was co-editor on this. And when he got hired, he thought Herbie Hancock was going to come back. That was the original word, and he was excited because I guess him and Herbie have the same religious background, and he was going to discuss philosophy and stuff with Herbie. And then he gets told immediately, nope, we're getting Jimmy by Michael Winter. He's like, no, I've got Jimmy Page coming in. Because according to him, rock and roll crowd will respond more to Jimmy Page than Herbie Hancock. So that was the initial thing. But as I dug deeper, it turned out that Michael Winter's house was next door to Jimmy Page. So the two kind of knew each other. And this was at the time after after the disaster, after Zeppelin fell apart. Well, not fell apart, but
Is there any truth to the rumor that this movie broke up Led Zeppelin?
No,
is that true?
No. This was after Led Zeppelin. Jimmy was basically Peter Grant, his manager, was trying his hardest to get Jimmy to get off the demons. We'll just say that. We'll say the demons. And,
Jimmy, there's more riffs you can steal from old blues guys. Come on.
Yeah, and you don't have a singer anymore who can get you sued because he reused the same "Ooh Baby" as Chuck Berry or something, But so they made a deal. Peter Grant makes a deal with Michael Winter that Jimmy will do the soundtrack for free.
Whoa!
In order to get Jimmy, because his idea was, I just need to get Jimmy to do a project, and I know it's not going to have any hit singles or any of that crud. So Jimmy will do it for free, but we maintain the right to release the soundtrack. So that came out, I believe. So that was part of the deal. So Jimmy was the man at that point because I think Herbie might have wanted to get paid.
That's like a modern deal where they were like, Jimmy, we'll pay you in exposure. He was the original Musicgram idol.
We forgot to mention this is the first Death Wish done by Golan-globus. That's a classic Globus move.
I mean, you're reading off the credits to us right now, Murray. So why don't you carry us through?
You set me up, and I'm like, I have nothing. What do you want me?
You don't even remember the opening scene?
Oh, I thought we're going in the movie. I thought we were still talking about Golan-globus.
Man, we got to get through this movie. We got to keep it under 4 hours.
Okay, well, I was just going to inject here that unfortunately, Julian, because of the way it was set up with Jimmy Page, never got to see Jimmy.
No,
So Jimmy hid in his home studio or wherever he was recording.
It was a very minimalistic job. I can see why he did it for free.
I don't even remember it. I didn't notice much of the soundtrack.
Only thing I remember is the going to kill people theme. I
like these accents you're throwing at me with
that's
your
what
hands.
That's what we're gonna start the episode with.
Okay.
Because that's the only one I remember.
Let's see if I remember it.
That's Paul hits the streets with a stocking cap.
Yeah, it's a stocking cap, man. It's good. Yeah. It's good shit.
So, Griff, yes, we open up. We get to see. I love LA, but do we really love LA? Because it looks like hell.
I mean, it was 82 LA.
Smog everywhere.
We've been talking about LA way too much in our recent movies, and yeah, this is 82 LA. Angel Town, Lionhearts. You got everything bad on the streets right now.
Yeah, so it was shitty. in 82, it was shitty in 90, and it was shitty whenever Angel Town came in. It's a shitty town. I've been there. It sucks.
Although it looks like LA, my favorite part when they pan near the harbor, I think you see what used to be Alan Hale's lobster barrel.
Barrel.
The skipper from Gilligan had his own seafood restaurant within that little place there.
Oh.
Well, we've always said if you want to show up the place where all scum comes, it's the harbors.
Because probably, it's all the scum in the war zone of LA must have shut it down.
Every drug deal goes down there. Every murder. Harbors. Stay away from water, people. How many times we got to tell you?
And this is kind of interesting how they did this, because as we're going through the harbor and everything, we hear a British woman come over the radio and talk about the crime statistics, which, as we know, they're over
5,032 rapes last week alone.
I forget what our
10,000 murders.
I forget what our numbers were. The stats were last 5 years ago
doubled
in New York. But over here,
5 years ago or 2, because they say both.
They do?
Movie.
They confuse their own timeline?
Yes,
oh, Jesus. Well, it's a David Lynch movie now, and time is an illusion.
Well, the voice is played by a woman, Jill Ireland, the real-life wife of Charles Bronson.
So that was his wife?
Yes.
Okay.
And if you're a Charles Bronson fan, you have to endure Jill Ireland, because he makes her be in every one of his fucking movies from the 70s to the 80s.
Oh.
They were a package deal.
Yeah, he demanded, and that's why you notice nothing happens to her, because that's his real life wife.
I was going to say, we always say, like, do not go near Paul Kersey if you're a woman.
Or human being. You're going to die. Well, you'll be raped and killed if you're a woman, but if you're a guy, you'll just be killed.
I feel like there's a few people that survive around Paul Kersey, but yeah, you're right, for the most part. But yeah, we got Paul's new lady. I believe he comes back home, or we open up at his house, and he's got a maid. He's living it up big time.
Well, he's like the in-house architect for a radio station. I didn't know they had those.
I didn't know. I wish it was Frasier's radio station, but that's up in Seattle. So that would have been cool.
That's a real radio station.
That was actually a radio station. Oh.
Well, tell me,
that is actually KABC. They're for real. What?
Did they go with the concrete or the marble? That's all I want to know.
I think they went with the marble. I think they went with the Angels.
Yes, with the Angels.
People are going to hear you yelling over Joe about the concrete. The concrete.
That's what I wanted to know.
These guys are
they left
worst.
us hanging with that. I thought they were going to go concrete because it's cheaper.
I think the Angels were supposed to look like Paul Harvey. I really do. The patron saint of talk radio.
Oh, God. With the teeth. Paul Harvey's got the biggest teeth I've ever seen, besides Gary Busey. I want to see them fight each other.
So he's planning on picking up his daughter, Carol, who apparently has the Benjamin Button disease, because she's actually gotten younger.
Yes, she has.
She was an adult woman. She's about 30 in the first movie. Now she's like a child.
I think it was the way they dressed her.
Yes, it was... Say, I might take heat for this. I thought that was the most offensive thing about this movie, in that, okay, something traumatic happened to her, but she's like regressed to like a childlike state now.
I was getting the same vibe off that. I was like, I don't know about this, guys. Like, to make her just like I'm an infant again. I'm a 3-year-old.
Right.
Like, she picks up a shiny object in a minute here, and she's like, whoa, like, don't give her a rabbit.
I'm glad that her fucking husband Jack is out of the picture, because he fucking
Jack was
the shit
worst.
out of him.
We were, by the way, right about our not philosophy, but our insight on Jack, because that guy was totally fucking around all over the place. That's why he's not in the picture anymore.
I'm just glad she's under the care of her father, who loves her.
Anyways, Carol is improving. And as we hear Jerry is his girlfriend in this. We hear her voice on the radio, and Rosario's like, your girlfriend's not going to be here anytime soon. She's still on the radio. And Bronson has to snicker at his help and be like, look, you don't understand how the business works. She recorded that like a week ago.
So she actually is making up stats.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she is. She's making up
fake
stats.
News. It was right that Trump knew what he was talking about.
Everybody. But yeah, so Jerry shows up. They pick up Carol from the institution, where we learn that you're right. 2 years is what they drop on him right here.
Yeah.
And it's like she's only getting younger. She's pooping and peeing yourself again like a child, and she really likes Sesame Street.
It's the magic of LA living, man. They all just get so much younger under the sun.
That's got to be it. Yeah.
Well, except for Bronson, who looks older.
Well, you already have a leather face and you get that sun on there. He's not polishing like he should. He's using normal human moisturizer when he should be using leather polish.
Yes.
Polish. Buffing his face. So, yeah, they're going to go to a little, outdoor festival, I guess, Yeah,
it was a kite festival because the daughter is obsessed with kites.
Yeah, I thought you liked kites, right?
When you were a baby.
Does anybody fly kite? Did you ever fly a kite in your life?
Hell yeah.
Okay, because that was a big part of my childhood, too. Every March, because March is the windiest month.
Yes.
We would get a kite and we'd fly it, and I'm thinking, that's the most boringest fucking thing you could ever do, but we loved it. Joe, did you ever fly a kite?
I have, but I gotta say, I've never flown a kite in a downtown plaza in LA. It was like the worst place to have a kite festival. It's like, instead of like on the, near the sea at some like little park thing or something like that. No, we're gonna have in some gritty downtown place where you can probably step on some, some old syringes or something to puncture the tail of your kite.
Well, Joe, the whole city's the shithole. We learned that the first opening credits.
I love that you pointed that out too. I wasn't even thinking about that because when you flew a kite as a kid, you were on a grassy
open
field
yeah,
and everything.
Exactly. Go back to school.
Me too.
Yeah.
But no, this scene is in a parking lot. It's on blacktop in between buildings. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So,
you do what you grow with.
And you pointed out, Griff, she likes shiny objects because she's an infant. So there's a table of these little glass trinkets, figurines. So she's just like, hi, and then she points out a little kitty.
A little kitty.
And he's like, well, you can pick out one thing. I'm gonna go get some ice cream.
Yep.
So he goes to get the ice cream, and of course, scum of the earth is hanging out looking for.
You know what music I did remember in this movie was the boombox music that they were always listening to because they had the little boombox that they would gather around and jiving with. Their music was always just like nothing you would associate with gangs. It was just like ba-da-ba-ba-ba-da-da. It was Herbie Hancock.
Look at you judging gang members. They can have different tastes. They can
you know what? You're right.
So they
sound like the opening from Tattletales.
It might have been. I don't know where I've heard that jingle, but it's in my head.
TV's greatest game shows for getting.
I was getting more a match game vibe. So Paul, he's got like a sixth sense for scum, so he just noticed in the corner of his eye, and he gives him an evil glare.
Yeah, he makes eye contact with one of them, and then the five of them are like, I don't like the way that guy looked at us. This is like one of the Chappelle skits when keeping it real goes wrong. That's what this whole scene's about to turn into. Because now that Bronson has given them a dirty look right back to him.
I want to point out, like much of our movie, it's a very diverse gang. I like that.
Yeah, very diverse.
Every race represented.
Yep. Lawrence Fishburne.
Yeah. I was shocked because I thought he was Larry Fishburne at this time, but in the credits it says Lawrence Fishburne the third.
Yeah.
So
he had those sleek little sunglasses on.
Punk rock sunglasses. I liked what they're called.
I liked it.
Well, I think they said, I was doing my IMDb scan, I don't read it all, but they gave them like carte blanche to like create their own looks. So that guy did come up with his, as you thought, punk cut, but skullet, he came up with that. And he said, I'm gonna take my eyebrows off. That looks like what a rapist would do. So I liked it that they all had their individual looks. Because you had the guy that looked like John C. Reilly.
Yeah.
And then you had Lawrence Fishburne with his look. It was great.
Yeah. I like go ahead, Joe.
I just want to know where he got the pink sunglasses from, because those really set the character apart.
He really did pop for me. I did like him. But I was gonna say, like, all the villains in the I don't know if I watched 4 and 5, but all the villains in the first 3 Death Wishes movies really stand out, and I think it's because every one of them got into the whole idea and did their own thing. Because Giggler stands out to me. There's always a giggling, Goldblum and his Jughead and his friend's mom's
his friend Baron von Raschke.
Yes, Baron von. Oh man, and what was I gonna? Oh man, there was something I was gonna mention about.
Well, because it was like that Warriors vibe. That's what I want to see in my gangs.
Yeah.
I put a tweet up there. I said, gangs. This is what you. There's no individualism anymore. They all gang members wear like sports gear now. You know,
Yeah.
it's like do what the '70s gang members did.
So we're getting stun locked on the first moments of the movie again. I'll try to move us along. The eye contact has been made. Keeping it real is about to go very wrong because I was gonna say Watson. Who is Watson? Paul opens up his wallet and the guys step up and they just snatch it. He was gonna use like a $50 bill to pay for $1 worth of ice cream. I kind of think Paul's an asshole. That's a mean thing to do to somebody. Be like, I want change for this 50.
Oh yeah.
Well, I guess Jiver agreed because he grabbed his wallet, take off. Bronson has a stuntman run for him because I believe he's like 60.
He's like 60, yeah.
It's got a sweet members only jacket on. I got to say, I like that. It was
you know what got me? That he had to cut the label off the members only jacket. So you couldn't
product placement.
So there was it was like members only. He's like, we don't want to be. You can wear the jacket, but not the label. You know, it's like.
I kind of like.
You're not a member, Paul. No,
I like this commitment to not advertising because I feel like everything you see today is just over the top advertising stuff, and so they were just like, "We're not going to advertise that." I mean, you knew it was a members only jacket, but you didn't know.
Well, I'm a member, of course I know.
Well, yeah, of course you don't.
So he follows him down an alley. They all get away but one, Jiver.
Yeah, they split up. They know how to do gang tactics.
Jiver thinks he can get one. He's like, this is elderly man. I think I can take him. So he pulls out the switchblade, and Paul just grabs like some cardboard, nails the switchblade on the cardboard. He's cleaned up Chicago. Remember, in between these two movies, he cleaned Chicago up.
That's right. Yes, he did.
So he knows he's an old pro at this now.
Don't tell you know what, I'm going to go back and delete that part because Hollywood's going to hear you say there's missing gap in the Death Wish series, and they're going to call up Bruce Willis, and there's going to be a 3-hour Death Wish 1.5.
Seth Rogen.
Only hope.
Oh, gee.
He giggles, so I'd be great.
What if he was?
How about
just
this? Seth Rogen and Joe Rogan, the Rogans,
the Rogans boys.
As a gang too, I like this idea a lot. I actually, you know what? Never mind. Hollywood, call us up.
So Paul handles the guy easily. Kicks this guy who's like young enough to be his son.
This was Jiver, right?
Jiver.
Okay.
And he gets his wallet back, right?
No, he does not
get his wallet back.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
But he just gets the satisfaction of slapping around a guy who robbed him.
Right. I don't have your wallet. I don't have your money. So Paul takes his knife, throws it. It was just like over a fence or something, and then walks away to go back to join his family. So the gangers still have his wallet, and Paul goes back to join his family, where the daughter is still staring at that cat.
And she steals it.
She did steal it.
So by Paul's rules, he should have to kill her. She's a thief.
I think Jerry bought it.
You know,
I think
I don't know. No.
I think Jerry got embarrassed waiting for him to show up, and she ended up having to pay the guy after he got the. Well, what are you going to do with her? I'm going to take it away from that kid. You know, break her heart.
Yeah, I mean, this was just like a little table, so there was probably only one person looking at it, and then the vendor's just sitting there watching these people look at the same object so I'm sure to avoid the awkwardness, you know, they're just like, here's the $5.
Yeah, and then Paul comes back. It doesn't even have the ice cream, and they're like, "Where's it?" It's like, well, I'm lactose intolerant. I just found out that, so no ice cream. Oh, let's go fly a kite, and they just go off a fly a kite.
I just like.
Wait, no, they go right.
They go to the boat.
Yeah. Yes, I was gonna say they go to the boat with some old sea captain. Maybe he was a skipper. He was like, "Ahoy!" And they get on the boat. Jerry's like, I got some work I got to do.
Yeah, she's talking to a senator or something.
She is talking to a senator about all this out of control crime that's going on.
She's got the whole Steven Seagal complex thing kind of going on here, where Paul Kersey is the Steven Seagal, and she's just like, I don't know how to live my life without you around. Because she's like, should I cancel it? He's like, this is a good opportunity for you. Yeah, I know, but should I cancel it so I can go on the boat with you guys? Other days to go on the boat. I'm pretty sure I should cancel. It's like, come on, Jerry. Calm down. Go do
You got to catch like Paul Kersey. Come on.
I like that you use catch like a mitt, like a catcher's mitt. because Paul has got a catcher's face.
I just like that Paul doesn't seem to care about his credit cards getting canceled.
No, maybe he's deep in debt, so he's just like, fuck it,
I guess so. It's like I can't imagine anyone being more casual about their wallet being stolen than Paul. There, like, oh well, don't need to cancel nothing. It's like, Amex, whatever. Let the kids get what they need.
I got my Diners Club card. Cancel that.
His AARP. His movie club.
He's got his international players card specifically given to him by Telly Savalas.
He's got his Subway card. He's got 9 cutouts, punched, and he's like, one more. I gotta have that sandwich.
He can't have that sandwich because I canceled him.
That's what puts him over the edge.
Yeah, that's got to be.
He's like, I was one away from that sandwich.
You could still go to Subway. They just can't put the top bun on. There's plenty of loopholes to get around.
Open face.
It's just an open face, and
that's it. That's the new thing. I'm gonna open the first open face chain of restaurants.
Yeah.
Okay. So they just go on a nice boat ride,
and we go back to Paul's house. It's like, why we gotta watch his maid cook him like a 9-course dinner? Like, what's the point of this? Well, we see a van roll up, and we got all of our gangers in there, and they're giggling because that's what rapists do. They giggle a lot.
Right, they're sick.
They haven't even been smoking their weed yet. They're just giggling.
Well, they do light up a joint right before they do.
Oh, you're right. You're right. This is just like in Clockwork Orange. You drink the Moloko.
So they send this creepiest member of the gang to go to the door.
Why? And you know what? This is the same gag they did in the first movie. Delivery. It's your grocery.
But Rosario, she's probably from the barrio. She's from Angeltown, so she knows the deal. She looks out the window and sees there's a fucking creepy looking motherfucker.
I know. I love the fact that she fucking screams. I would scream too if there was a guy with that mullet outside of my house.
No eyebrows, wearing like a safari suit. It was crazy.
Have eyebrows?
Yes, he had no eyebrows. He shaved them off.
You saying he was in the Paul Jones Army?
So he's just a distraction. Even they know that he's not. No one's going to open the door for that creep. So Lawrence Fishburne, they sneak up and just break. Why do they need that? They break the back window out.
Yeah.
Jump in, giggling like maniacs because they're high on the weed.
Yep.
And they convinced to do a really brutal rape of this woman. I don't know how to play. I can't make that funny, guys. I'm sorry.
This is why we still haven't done Kinshite, Forbidden Subjects, because Bronson has a thing for rape. He's really into saying, I cannot tell you how much I hate rape, so I'm going to put it in every single one of my movies.
Was it him, or was it, I think Michael Winner was the one, because I think he actually did go, no, we're having a rape in this movie.
Okay. Yeah, but any other way to motivate my hero than to have a horrible rape in his life?
What's the odds? It happens to you in New York, then it happens to LA. But in the 80s,
why does he have a better security system?
I think he thought LA was better. He was like, I escaped. I mean,
not even a peephole in his door. How can this man do this? He is nothing. He's you know why? Because he spent all his money on those macrame owls on his wall. That's why.
You know why? Because he has the hunger for murder now. So he's actually setting up scenarios where he has to kill people.
Maybe that's it. Yeah. He's probably like inviting people onto his lawn all the time. And California doesn't stand your ground.
He's probably one of those guys who leaves empty brand new TV boxes out by the garbage for 6 days hoping someone will bust into the house.
There we go. Yeah, for sure. He definitely is trying to lure in the creeps.
The baiter.
So they're just brutalizing this poor maid.
Yeah, they're taking turns. At one point, they're like, "Get that!"
You notice at one point, Nirvana, who's the John C. Reilly guy, the leader. I assumed he was the leader of the gang. He's almost disgusted by it at first.
Yes,
and then he's like, "Fuck it," when in Rome, and just joins in like later on.
Yeah, I think it was because they were like doing it in the living room.
I think that's too. He's like, "No, sex is for the bedroom."
Exactly. He's just like, "This is offensive to me." If he were Paul Kersey in Death Wish 1 on the beach, he'd be like, "We're not fucking on this beach. That's for the bedroom."
Yeah, I'm a civilized rape.
Exactly.
Okay, So all right, she's getting raped. They're out of the boat. They come back.
Yep. They're keeping a lookout because they're like, we know he's going to be back sometime soon. And of course, Paul shows up. He opens the door. He's got Carol with him. Oh, whatever Rosario's cooking, it smells delicious.
Mm-hmm.
And they get jumped, and Carol starts having PTSD. It's just a horrible.
She's
scene.
just comatose. She might be on the spectrum. She's just like, Maybe she's like, it's my like. Maybe they won't notice me if I don't move. I don't know. But
just
Paul,
locked up.
Right. Paul puts up a fight, but he's 60. I mean, there's 5 guys. Even Bronson can't do that. But it's enough of a distraction that Rosario runs to get the phone to call the cops, and they notice that, so they bash her, gave her skull in with a crowbar.
Did they kill her?
They killed her.
They killed her?
They killed
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And they just knock out Paul, and they're like, hey, I'm not done raping yet. Let's grab that girl. Let's go.
Yeah, I think this was kind of a motivation in Death Wish 1 as well. We got to kill her because she saw us. But it was like, Carol saw you too, and you left her alive. And in this movie, they're like, grab that girl because she saw us alive. And so that's why they kidnapped Carol. But, I mean, apparently they killed Rosario, but they didn't kill Paul.
No.
They just assumed he was dead. You look at him, I assume he's dead. When he's walking around, he looks like he's dead. So
it's like they've already killed 2 people in this room. Why do they have to hold back on a third if she saw us? But I mean, then we miss out on the next scene.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, really.
Not horrific because Michael Winter wanted another rape. Thing 1 and 1, 2 and 2.
Exactly.
Sense.
They were like, how do we step up our tragedies from the first one? 2 rapes.
Can I talk a little bit about Michael Winter for a second?
Go ahead.
But from Julian, when he the first time when he met to meet Winter, because Julian had worked with the guy who what was his name? Bernie Gribble, who cut the original Death Wish, and Julian had done a couple films, including Motel Hell with Bernie, and he recommended him for Death Wish 2. And he shows up at the office to meet him and to meet Michael Winter. And the first thing Michael Winter says when he extends his hand to shake it is, "We've already started this relationship off in a bad way. It's going to end even worse." And he's like the only reason he took a liking to Julian was because Julian's girlfriend was someone he knew, and so he was cool with that. But Winter would hand out the Wit and Wisdom of Michael Winter book, which included such wonderful phrases as, "We all know you're an idiot. You don't have to prove it over and over again." And of course, my favorite, "Teamwork is a lot of people doing what I say."
That is awesome.
So Michael was not. We'll just say this: Michael, not the sweetest man alive.
Jeez,
misunderstood genius. I say.
It sounds like a misunderstood genius. Did he come back for the third one too?
Yes,
he did. Well, now you have to also remember he's the editor. The other there's the co-editor is Arnold Crust, who's listed with Julian, and that is Michael Winter. That's his fake name he used to cut this, and he cut part 3 by himself as Arnold Crust. And I couldn't get confirmation, but I get a sense, especially dealing with golan-globus, that Michael Winter probably used a fake editor name to ensure he could get paid for editing.
Oh man, he's double dipping.
Instead of
Michael
so much.
Michael Crust is a great punk rock name.
I do like that name. Yeah,
it is. But I get the idea that it was kind of like, because a lot of times with these studios, I know with Corman, it was like, well, I know you directed and you wrote the script, but we're just going to pay you for directing. Thank you. Kind of, we know you edited and directed, but we're just going to pay you for this. So it's like,
right.
Well, Arnold, my poor suffering friend Arnold, who you'll never get to meet. He needs his money, Please, guys, pay him. His family's starving.
And make it out to cash.
Yeah.
Well, at this point, wasn't it like Canon the only people that would employ Michael Winter? I mean,
pretty much.
Do anything
I think this was after Wonton Ton, the dog that saved Hollywood. So, yeah, this is pretty much the that moment of I'm back. But he's not going to act like this was his last chance because he's Michael Winter. So he acted like he was born to do this because he's a winner.
I directed Death Wish.
And I believe he was featured in one of the golan-globus documentaries for Death Wish 3 because wasn't it the rape scene in that, the one woman from Star Trek Next Gen? And there was a whole thing about that. And so I kind of got the idea Michael Winter was...
Yeah, he refused for her to be covered up in between
shooting. Yeah.
So, no!
That was how I got to know who Michael Winter was as a director, was because of that.
He did half of the movies he did were with Bronson, I think.
Maybe.
He did a bunch. I think he did. Did he do The Mechanic? Did he direct that?
I think so.
I think he directed.
Double check.
Yeah, that's a good movie. I like The Mechanic. But anyway, back to this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have kidnapped Carol, And it really is kidnapping the situation because she has the mentality of a 3-year-old at this point.
Right.
So, hi, Wings.
Right.
So we have gone back to the gang headquarters, and I guess this is their little hangout. And they even decorated it pretty well too.
It was very warm and inviting. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Carol's she's going into her happy place inside her head. She's just like, she's traumatized.
Yeah,
she knows it's coming. So she's just sitting there like,
I feel like this
staring off into
actress
space.
watched the movie Tommy recently and saw how what's his name from The Who acted in that.
Adultery.
Yep.
Yes, how he acted out Tommy. He was like, I'll just do that because
she did play a little pinball before she got raped.
I did see that pinball play, but she was obsessed with a shiny object just like Tommy. I'm putting it together.
So they're like, hey, like they're all worried, and then Cutter, Lawrence Fishburne's character, he's like, look, they think we all look the same. Don't worry about it. We're cool. We can rape her all we want. So that Punk Cut, I think Punk Cut was the little black guy.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Him and Jiver, they're sex freaks, so they're just having a good old time. Other guys are just hanging out, watching. I don't know.
It's very strange. Yeah. After the brutalism of the first scene, they were like, let's have this one be a little calmer because Carol's not saying or reacting at all. She's just letting things happen. And then suddenly she just gets up and fucking books it.
Well, she buttons her shirt up.
She very calmly
Yes.
buttons up. Yeah.
And then just leaps out a window. Right, and it's impaled on a wrought iron fence.
I'm going to
I want
buttoned up for the stunt person.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
So I point out later at the end, Paul Kersey says this guy raped and murdered my daughter. They did not murder her daughter. She killed herself.
Yeah, she killed herself.
So okay, I'm just pointing that out.
Yeah.
So so she's dead. The cops come to the house. They're like, "Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Kersey, your daughter's dead." And it was much like the first movie. It was just matter of fact, like this is the world we live in. She's dead. And he's like, "What?" And they're like, "We need you to like."
It's Home Alone 2. He slaps his face in front of the mirror. No, again.
And they're like, "Do you want to press charges?" Like they don't even care. They're just like, dusting for prints.
Yeah.
And they're like, he's like, "I just want to tell you, we're not going to find him."
Yep. Right off the bat, don't worry about it. We're not going to find him.
But if you want to go down to the morgue and identify the body, you can do that. So he does do that.
She's got like stitches all over her face. Why did they stitch her up? I guess they tried to bring her back to life, but she died at the hospital or something. So we quickly see her. They identify her. Next thing you know, we're having the funeral, and then Paul's boss is there, and he's
would think he'd want to have her buried in Connecticut with the mother.
With the mother,
yeah. But he's just like dumps her in L.A.
Yeah.
Well, I guess remember there was that big snowstorm during the funeral for his wife. So he was like, "I don't want to deal with that. I'm old. I can't deal with cold.
I can't deal with the cold and
damp." So they'd bury her in L.A.
My face can't deal with the dry, dry, cold winter.
Chapping. It'll chap him.
Exactly.
So his boss goes, "Look, I know this is bad. I'll give you a week. Then you got to get back to work.
I'll give you 1 whole week.
But you can do it at my cabin." And we've known for watching these movies how revitalizing nature is, and how the best way to train for any kind of tournament fight is through nature.
Yes,
and that's what he actually does a favor to Paul. He's like, "Use my cabin 1 week. Toilet doesn't work, but you can chop a lot. While you're there, can you chop some wood for me?"
That's it.
Yeah,
it's like Ivan Drago. Rocky getting ready to fight Drago in Rocky 4. Remember?
Exactly. That's exactly what it is. And he's just abusing the wood. It's the wood's flying into a river. He doesn't even care about the wood. He's just chopping. And then he realizes, I'm ready to kill now.
I like this because it's like we get maybe 2 seconds to mourn over Carol. Just that quick cut. And even his wife in the first movie got like a second. But there was a third person involved in that whole horror scene.
She's help. Who cares?
They just completely no need to mention it.
They just let you there lying naked in that scene. I mean, God, could you just put like a Michael Winner move?
Michael
Winner.
Put
a sheet on her for fuck's sake.
Yes. Oh my God.
Oh, it's poor Rosario. There's no mention. You don't even have like, I need to send some some flowers to her funeral.
Right, it's like whatever.
Nothing.
Throw her in the dumpster out back. She's illegal. Nobody will miss her. So he's like, now I'm ready to kill. I'm ready to go back to L.A. and get back to the old killing life.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing more to kill your libido than seeing your daughter get killed. Yeah. Well, we know that Paul Kurtz, he's a man of the ladies. He's a ladies' man, if you will.
Yes, I'd say man of the ladies, but he is a ladies' man.
Damn it. This is what sucks when you do shit live. But yeah, so in the first movie, after his wife died, he was like, I gotta murder someone and get my dick working again. He's immediately like, I just gotta go fuck this one off.
Oh, that's an amazing insight, Griff. Do you think maybe he turned his wife down in the beginning of the movie because he can't get it up anymore, and then he finally starts getting erections because he's killing people?
Oh,
it's a sex thing.
Yeah, it definitely is. Which makes the point that Ames's point about guns being a penis, of phallic symbol and everything.
It's called projection. Griff.
Projection.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he's ready to hit the streets. He kept a gun. He has a gun on him in his closet. He looks at it lovingly.
There's a picture of Ames hidden in the back there as well.
Detective Mankiewicz shows up. He's like, look, we're not going to do anything, but we got to make it look like we're doing something. So you could come down one day and just look at some mugshots. No, I don't have time for that. And just walks away. Hits the streets of L.A., Grip. 1982. L.A. punk scene is full throttle. Scum of the earth is walking everywhere. You see it everywhere. You got fucking street magicians, all this garbage people.
Oh, yeah. Motorcycle gangs riding on the sidewalk. People juggling. People, selling crystals and shit. Just everything.
And
so
Pioneer
Paul,
Chicken. Don't forget the Pioneer Chicken where all the punks were hanging out.
And he just looks at him with disgust.
I
looked at the Pioneer Chicken.
I don't know if it was the chicken or the because that fried stuff works bad on his stomach. I think after a while for Bronson there, but I found out the Pioneer Chicken stand is now mixed use property because somehow I looked up the address. So you kids, if you run out to LA to hang out with some conniving punks, you can't go to Pioneer Chicken anymore. It's gone.
Oh, that's too bad.
COVID. God damn you, COVID.
Yeah, when you got shut down by COVID. Small businesses, unlike Little Caesars, which, got closed up by COVID as well because it's a small business.
I did like the fact that someone stole some. I like the scene where the person busts out the window of the car so they could steal some anonymous bag.
Right.
It's not a safe neighborhood.
All he sees is crime is happening everywhere and no one's doing anything. Everyone's so apathetic to it. They're just like, hey, this is life in the big city.
And even better is you saw it in Death Wish 1 as well. Paul's walking on these streets, and it's the whole idea is supposed to be giving you this image of no normal person, because Paul's a normal person, is willing to walk these streets. But then when they need to conveniently have somebody get harmed by the gangs, there's normal people like walking around in like a nice suit and dress and everything. And so we get to see some of those people mixed in here too. And it's like,
well, Paul decides I got to get my work clothes. So I like it's like a superhero thing. Like he has a costume. He goes to a thrift store, buys himself like a nice blazer and a stocking cap. And then he's like, well, I got to have a place where I can my bat cave, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So he starts checking out the flop houses of L.A.
I just love how as we're walking down that street, it's just church after church after church.
Storefront churches.
With like their 10 p.m. midnight services happening, and there's people in there, and it's like each one of them is full too. It's incredible.
It's a happening part of town.
Yeah, really, for the church folk, apparently.
Skid Row.
They're known for their Jesus people.
I have a question. Maybe you could help me out with this, Joe, because we're similar age. What the fuck was going on with Hare Krishna shit in like the late 70s and early 80s? Was that like the peak? Because I'd never seen one in real life, but in the movies, Hare Krishna's everywhere.
Oh yeah, no, it was pretty peaky. There, people were running off and joining cults pretty quick. I remember the Moonies. Moonies would pop up, but they weren't as hair transformable. I remember in the 80s, the Hare Krishnas would always try to invite you over from. I went to NC State, and they would always be like, "Come over and have a vegan dinner with us and listen to music." Except they didn't tell you it was Hare Krishna music, which I did like the fact that they did have that little sign with all their lyrics on it, so you could sing along at home or in the theater.
Oh, there you go.
You know? But
I just
Harry.
remembered that. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm just saying, Harry Krishna seemed to pop up when you ever went to a major city. They were lurking, ready to, make you join them. It was what we had to join before they invented, Amway.
I just remembered the lead singer Youth of Today got into Krishna shit, and there was a genre called Krishna core.
Oh boy!
And I never listened to it, but it exists.
Well, that's why you're uneducated. You should have been listening and enlightening yourself.
Well, you could have been a bell player.
I listened to the George Harrison song.
Oh, okay.
Hare Krishna. He got sued for because he stole it. So yeah, he's looking at all the flop houses. He decides on the perfect one. It's $50 a month.
We saw the mom and pop essence of it, hand painted sign,
Asian immigrants.
By the hour so much, by the day so much. He loved that touch.
Even though I want to point out there was a better deal at another place where it was like I think $14 a week or something, and this one $50 a month. It doesn't add up.
It's look, I'm just saying, as somebody who used to go out to LA, I would have actually said, you know what, $50 a month for this room is pretty much worth it. This is because remember, it really, once he got inside, nobody messed with him, right?
No,
right.
I mean,
there wasn't. Oh, go ahead.
There's no dealers hanging around. There was no hookers hanging around. Hell, there weren't even drummers. There weren't even drummers living at that place. So it was just perfect. I mean, I could not think of a better getaway, my LA retreat than this wonderful. And by the way, it's the Southern Hotel that he was staying in. And here's the amazing thing. You guys might be familiar with the Southern Hotel because it was in not one but 2 episodes of Starsky and Hutch. So it's a famous hotel. Yeah, including Starsky versus Hutch.
I've seen 2.5 episodes of Starsky and Hutch.
I think we need a new future Tippy Tap, Starsky versus Hutch.
That sounds like a good winner.
But I just like the fact, I want to know if this place advertised as, come see the celebrity hotel. We've had Starsky and Hutch and Death Wish 2 filmed here. Come now. Live the dream.
But this is how they get you guys. It's $5 extra for clean sheets.
That's how you always get. Yeah, that's the
we learned that from the Exterminator.
You can get clean sheets at a hotel. When did they start doing that policy?
For $5, you can get anything, man.
Wow.
By clean, I mean they just air them out.
And another piece of trivia about the hotel, because there's a sign next to it that says Julian's Furniture up against the house, against the hotel. Julian, the editor, swears he had nothing to do with the sign. That he doesn't know. He doesn't know if the art department just slapped his name on there as normally a little tribute to somebody working on the film or not. He has no clue. Nobody keyed him into it, so he has no idea. But there was
a sign that said Arnold Crust Sheets. So
they were crusty sheets.
They were very crusty.
I like it. So Paul has finished. He's got his new little
got
hangout.
Everything set up. His lair. He's ready. He's got his fucking costume. He's a superhero. This is what Marvel should be doing.
Yeah, he's Batman
without the wonderful toys.
He's matches Malone.
And in 90 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
90 minutes, Disney.
Yeah.
I learned everything I needed to know. So he's got everything set. He goes back home.
And we're into the next morning, and Jerry wakes him up. She has just walked into his house. She had a key. She had all of her clothes there. So I don't know why he's surprised by this, because they're clearly on right there and nearly getting married and everything.
And you notice that he's finally found his true love, Lady Death. So he noticed he changes the keys. Like they never plays a part in the movie at all that he changes the keys, the locks of his house. That never comes up later on, but he does because he wants Jerry out.
Yeah.
He's in love with Death.
And it's right after this scene here, because she wakes him up and he's got a gun sitting on the top of his dresser, and he's just like, "Oh, Jerry, what are you doing here? Why are you surprised? It's just me. I got the key." So it's a whole kind of, they're trying to make this scene a little tense, like, oh shit, is she going to find my gun and find out that I'm out murdering people or something? But he quickly is just like, Jerry, look, I'm gonna be a while in the bathroom.
He's like, Vinny's, I had a late night at Vinny's the other day, the pastrami and nacho cheese. It doesn't work. It does a number on me. I'm being here for an hour.
Jerry's seen this song and dance before. She's like, I'll get out of here. You do your thing. I'll get the Pepto-Bismol and leave it in the mailbox because I'm not getting anywhere inside this house afterwards. Paul immediately, after he hears her car start up, he goes and calls the locksmith. It's like, come over to my house, change the locks. Don't even give me the keys. Just change the locks, We're in the toilet as well because, oh, boy.
So Paul, once again, he hits the streets. You got the Hare Krishnas. You got the bikers. You got Stomper. I like the fact that this gang, not only are they a diverse gang, but they like... I don't know what the word I'm looking for, but they go off to other gangs. Like they're not just this one central gang. Sometimes they like hang out with other gangs, and I like that.
Yeah,
they're like they're meeting new people.
Yeah, they're all kind of like friendly on these street parts here.
Right, a reverse warriors, if you will.
Well, they're like
they love each other.
They're the LinkedIn. They're the LinkedIn generation. They're networking across the city.
Yeah.
Working their way up. The Stomper's working his way up is what you're trying to say. So
yeah.
It's like they decided this one avenue, this is neutral ground. You don't do any shady shit here. And, all the business happens on the outskirts of this main strip here. And so after our two gangs meet up, led by, who was it, Stomper leading?
Yeah, it was Stomper, some other guy, and two cholos.
Yeah.
And they go off to this abandoned hotel. I just saw this note that Joe put in. He's right. Bronson looks like Spock when Spock comes down to Earth and has to put on like a stocking cap to cover the points of his ears.
Oh, yeah.
So he's like, he just happens to stumble on these guys. That's what I liked about the first movie. It was very realistic in that he never knows who killed his wife. He never meets them. There's never a resolution. This one, he spots everybody. It's L.A. What, 200-300 people live in L.A.? It's probably easy to find the guy who raped your daughter.
Incredibly small population.
Right.
Like
it's small city. I've been there. It's small.
It's you just put a little classified in the back of the L.A. Weekly, and it happens.
That's it.
Did you kill this person?
Did you rape my daughter? If so, call this. And you can't resist that. So yeah, they go off to this abandoned hotel to like do their deal.
Right. I don't know why they just didn't do it on the street, but again, I think it's because it's neutral territory. You don't do any drug deals. You don't do anything. You have to go off the main strip. I think that's it.
I don't know.
There's no other reason because. What?
Do we get a rate on how much that hotel is a month? I didn't see that on the hotel.
The hotel they're at, or the one that Kersey's at?
No, the one they've just come at for the drug deal. I'm guessing it's got to be less than $50 a month.
I would think, yeah, there'd be a lot of squatters there.
Yeah, I'm thinking that's just where the hobos hang out.
Just reeks of pee and shit.
Yeah.
Free rats.
And rats.
Free rats.
Yeah. I got a real rat Night of Terror. Great episode by us. Vibe there, because the rats were everywhere.
They were.
And they were very just cool with people. They didn't,
They weren't afraid of it at all, because it was like, this is our territory now. You're in the rat motel.
Mm-hmm.
So they're doing a deal, a drug deal. I think Stomper was selling drugs.
You know what? It doesn't matter. There was drugs being exchanged here. Paul's on a staircase just kind of peeping in. He's got his gun out and he's kind of squaring up a shot and everything. When you think he would like step on a rat and it would bark out or something, but there just so happened to be some kind of can for a product I've never seen before in my life. Art department did a good job here because it looked like nothing I've ever seen before.
And he hits it, and that,
causes a ruckus.
Alerts them.
Yeah.
And he just unloads, shoots the fucking one guy, lets the cholos go. Paul's not a racist because he's like, you guys can go. You got great style.
Yeah.
And like, you stay. And like, because Stomper thought he's like, I'm out of here too. And then he does the classic line. If you've seen Death Wish 2, you remember this part. Because Stomper's got a nice giant crucifix on.
Yes, he does.
Do you believe in Jesus? Yeah, man. Yeah, I do. Good, because you're going to meet him. Boom! Just blows the motherfucker away. Just like that.
And I like this. We see this in Death Wish later on in the movie when He has finished his murder. He's smiling, grinning ear to ear. It's somehow cutting through that leather face. His smile just creaking up there. Just moisturize, man. Just a little bit. But
I want to point out that unlike the first movie where he just kills whoever's committing a crime, he's very focused in this movie.
This is true. You're right. Because like you said, he let the Angeltown boys just go. He's just like, get out of here, guys. I saw that you were making drug deals, and I don't believe in drug deals. He just let him walk. That is progressive. He's progressing in his murder ways. So he goes back home to enjoy a nice glass of
Raging erection.
bourbon or something.
No, he has like one. I don't know if this is.
What was it?
He has the non-fat milk with his cereal.
Yeah. That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, he just had some cornflakes.
Gotta keep his svelte figure with the non-fat milk. You know.
I'm immediately thinking because I forgot about that part. By the way, I did notice later on in the movie he leaves his milk out all the time. I would not be drinking.
That bothered me too. Yeah.
I would not be drinking milk with fucking Paul Courtesy.
maybe
Chunks coming out. Ugh.
Maybe he's got the AC set crank so high that it doesn't matter if it's in the fridge or not.
There we go. We solved it.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Once again, beauty secrets of Charles Bronson. keep the AC at 45.
Maybe the reason is having a nice bowl of cereal. He's like, I've already got the erection. He's an older man. He's 60-something. He's like eating a nice fibrous cereal or something.
Right,
and he's like, I'm gonna jerk one off here because I got this beautiful erection, and then I'm gonna have a good shit. So that's why.
Well, he did have earlier with the Vinnies, but he's like, he's not only that. It's going so well for Paul. He even got the prize at the bottom. He ate because he's one of those guys that. He's like, I will not put my hand down there to get the prize. Oh, I'm going to get it when I'm done.
You got to work for your prize.
Yeah, what your mom would make you do. Because you always want the cereal that had the cool prize. Your mom's like, you better fucking eat it.
It was always a plastic spoon that changed colors in the milk.
It was always some kind of piece of shit. Yeah.
Because you think he got yelled at if the box had a little bit of a bow to it where she said, I saw your hand go in there. Push the cereal around.
Oh yeah,
see, Paul would have shot you. So yeah, he's having that nice bowl of cereal as you do when you've murdered somebody, and he hits the street again. He's like, I got a Jones in for some killing.
Yeah, we don't need to be worrying about what Paul's up to. We know he's just in murder mode now. So we're just gonna go through like him recovering and him out on the streets.
Did you notice? I think this is the scene. He's walking down the street. Someone's in the foreground, just like apathetically being strangled. It seems like somebody's like strangling a woman or something. And it's just like, this is life in Angeltown.
I wouldn't be surprised. I feel like all the people on the sets were just like, I want to be seen on this fucking movie. So they did something bizarre like that.
So, yeah, it's just like you see prostitutes, drug dealers, everything.
Well, my favorite part, the cowboy who's like shooting caps in front of the double feature of Any Which Way But Loose and Every Which Way You Can. I mean, Clint Eastwood and that damn orangutan together. That was some fine 80s filmmaking right there.
Oh, yeah.
I did love that cowboy. Yeah.
They need to bring back the orangutan. Do we have any more orangutan movies lately or not?
When's that getting a reboot? Any Which Way But Loose.
You know what would be better? The orangutan is in Escape from New York. He's got to escape.
Oh, shit.
What would be better is if you reboot Any Which Way But Loose, but they reverse the roles where the orangutan's a bare knuckle brawler and Clint Eastwood's just like burps or whatever the fuck the orangutan does. I don't remember what the orangutan does.
Just stand around, be hairy.
Yeah.
There we go.
So he's hitting the streets. His fucking rape sense starts tingling.
Yeah, because like I had mentioned, we see nothing but muggers and gang people, but just because they need to lead a scene somewhere, there's always an innocent couple who just, I don't know what they were doing here in these nice dresses and suits, because all it is church. They were at church. Had to be at church.
Church.
Nice white couple with their black storefront shirt. Yes. It happens,
Sunday 3 a.m. mass.
Exactly. It's the best time to go.
Griff, they're buying drugs. Okay.
It's the after midnight mass.
There we go.
They probably met a couple, like a swinging couple, and they're like, "Hey, man, we live in the city," so that's probably why they were there.
There were, and someone, you've got a jacuzzi, we got a van. Party time.
Oh boy.
So they're in the parking garage. Paul's rape sense is tingling. He hears that he's like, somebody's being raped. Rushes to it. Opens fire.
Yeah, this was in a parking structure, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Parking garage.
And he actually shoots two random gangers. I don't believe they were in our main gang here. There was
like I said, yeah, they diversified. Jiver's there with his other gang.
Yeah, Jiver with his other friends just doing friend shit.
Right.
Oh,
so they
You know
grabbed the
what I bet
woman.
I bet they met up on Craigslist. There's probably a Craigslist listing for that night that he joined in on.
Just the telephone poles. They would just, staple, hey, looking for some cool people to do some treacherous shit.
Dude, the dark web.
Take
This
one.
is what happens on the dark web.
Yeah.
All right.
Take one, yeah.
Because he's LinkedIn, he's moving, he's networking.
Do you like rape? So do I. How about we get together and rape people?
Oh, God.
Call me at 555-RAPE.
Have a really cool van, would like to rape passerbys.
Michael Winner, he's probably sponsoring the group.
There we go.
So speaking of rape, they grab the woman and just go into the van, do their deed. Husband's just fucked up, beat up on the ground.
Yep. Paul opens fire on everybody.
Opens fire. Jiver, who's in there mid-rape, grabs the woman, uses her hostage. And then I think he just throws her away and runs. Paul shoots him in the ass.
He does get an ass shot in there. And then a minute later, the shot has been lowered about 8 inches down to his leg.
Yeah.
Yeah. Notice that while he's running away.
See, he runs to the nearest warehouse.
Yep. And Paul is following him by the blood trail.
Right.
So he's able to track him. Nobody on the streets bothered by this at all.
Well, they're used to it, Griff. Come on. I told you, somebody was apathetically being strangled. They weren't even fighting it. They're just like,
that's a good point. And you had the cowboy. This is a great way when movie theaters start opening up again. If you get to, run another double feature down there at one of your local theaters, I hope you have a cowboy out there with cats.
I'm not a
up.
cowboy. I hope you have the cowboy for the village people.
Yeah. Oh, shit. Oh, yeah, there we go. It's all coming together.
Dude, Death Wish Marathon. I'm just saying.
You get that worked out. I'll be down there.
We'll be guests of honor. Don't worry about it.
You get the jet out of mothballs. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah. So, Paul chased him to the warehouse. There's like a big pile of boxes, like a wall of boxes.
Yeah.
He's seeing the blood. He's like, "What happened? Where did he go?" Jiver is on a forklift behind these boxes. Very empty warehouse. Just a wall of boxes, and that's it.
And a functioning forklift.
Yes.
And
he knows how to operate, apparently.
It's the place where all the stunt people get their empty boxes for falling on later in the day.
Oh, yeah, of course.
And we learned that Jiver worked for Home Depot, so he knows how to use a forklift.
Clearly.
And it's a very silent. It's like when Leatherface comes out of nowhere and the chainsaw's running. It's like the forklift just like out of nowhere, no sound, and then it's
it was an electric forklift.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
And it's very. This is a very anticlimactic scene. He just goes through the wall. Paul just walks away, shoots him, dead.
Dead. Yeah, that's it.
So we get a scene where the cops finally arrive hours later. I'm guessing
It had to be.
the swinger couple.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, did you see anything? I'm trying to not do my job here, people. Did you see anything? And he's like, where the fuck were you guys? My wife was about to be raped. Hey, I had some donuts I was into. You know? Did you see anything? He's like,
we need to know who this guy is who's murdering and shooting people. And they're like, you want that guy? That guy's a hero. Well, you clearly saw him, so tell us more. What does he look like? They're just like, well, he was 8'4". He was black with a red beard, and he had 4 arms.
And the wife is like, no, he was an elf with green teeth. And so they're just like, because they know the deal. Cops are useless, And so, speaking of useless cops, we switch to...
We're moving into the second act of the film, and now we're getting the police perspective.
The police commissioner.
I like how they did this.
He's like, this guy's is much like in the first movie. This guy's doing our job for us. He's killing people. It's our job. It's making us look bad, And they're like, this sounds very similar to a case maybe 5 to 2 years ago.
I like the 5 to 2, not 2 to 5. 5 to 2 years ago.
There was a guy, Detective Frank Ochoa, who solved that case. He didn't really, but they're like, we need to talk to that guy. So they call in Frank, And then the guys in New York are like, whoa, shit, I thought we covered this up. Frank, do whatever you got to do. Kill that guy. I don't give a fuck. Just make it go away. Because we don't want to make us look bad. It's all about covering your ass. It's not about fucking solving crimes. It's about covering your ass. So we set it up. Frank Ochoa from the first movie is heading to L.A.
Yeah, I like this because, again, we're just continuing on this pace of what the police are up to. Frank comes in, and he's getting all kinds of information, the crime stats. Here he learns about Paul's recent tragedy because the guys have already ID'd Paul, and they're just like, yeah, this Paul guy. I'm sure Frank brought up his name, but it's the weirdest thing. His daughter got raped and murdered, and I think he had some kind of help or something. I think she was brutally raped or something. I believe we left the body in his apartment or his house. Rather.
Throw her in the dumpster. They're like,
I think she's over in evidence. Actually, just rotting. It's awful. It smells terrible. We should do something about it.
But it's like, Frank, in case you didn't watch the beginning of the movie, I'm gonna rattle off some more statistics for you. And it's like 5,000 deaths last week alone.
Murray, it's right here. 96 deaths, serious injuries, 1,500 rapes. 579. That has to be 450 more than what happened in Death Wish 1. So LA, despite its population of 200 to 300, people are getting raped nonstop.
Yeah.
It's a town that's filled with Bill Cosby and all those other folks, right?
Right. People are getting raped twice, Griff. That's why. So I want
Spector. Phil Spector and Bill Cosby are probably half those numbers.
Was Phil Spector a rapist? I thought he just pulled guns on people.
Well, I mean, serious injuries and deaths. So I'm lumping them together. One does one does the other. They probably work tag team. I don't know, but I'm just saying.
Bill, you rape them, I'll kill them. Don't worry about it.
Illuminati death packs. You know how it is.
Fucking LA. So. I like this little thing where that Vincent Gardenia brought in from the last movie. Apparently, Detective Ochoa has allergies because he's constantly sniffling and taking nose drops. And it's a nice touch. We go, wow, I feel this guy is a real person to me now because he has allergies just like I do.
Yeah, unless he's covering up his coke habit.
And little coke sniffles.
He's in LA.
Hey, it was the 70s. He's like, hey, he's like, I just got back from Studio 54. What's going on?
I feel
so. Frankie's talking,
and just to point out, because the detective that's investigating all this stuff in L.A. is, of course, Lieutenant Mankiewicz, which sadly is the Mank we got stuck with in 1982 instead of the Mank. But he is the worst of the Mankiewicz brothers, I believe.
He doesn't even want to help Frank. He's just like, hey, we're useless. We don't know what to do. But he's feeling a little suspicious. He's like, why are you here, Detective Ochoa? Oh, it's a vacation, And so he's like, oh, this guy's going to try to make us look bad. Frank's like, don't worry about it. I'm just here for a vacation. I'm going to go break into someone's house.
Yeah.
How did he know about Jerry? I don't know.
Mankiewicz told him.
Oh, he's like, here's a witness you might want to bother.
Yeah, he was just like, what's Paul been up to? Well, he's dating this news reporter or radio host or something. Yeah, she's pretty great. She lives over here at this address. And then he's like, are you withholding information on me? After he just got that address, you couldn't connect those dots. So
that's why the cops are useless in this
clearly,
city.
Yeah.
So much like the last movie, Detective Ochoa just breaks into Jerry's house.
That's it. Yeah, you can do that.
And she comes home from work and she's like, oh, and he's drinking her non-fat milk.
I bet she was a big fan of vitamin D milk. And then she started dating Paul Kersey, and he was like, what is this? You're going to get fat.
Whole milk. What am I, a millionaire?
Who knew? Non-fat milk sponsored this movie at its core.
Dairy. Yeah. Dairy Farmers of California brought to you.
Big Dairy. I hate Big Dairy, man.
So yeah, no, he only makes Jerry. Jerry can only have skim milk.
Is that a step below non-fat?
Skim milk is water.
I know skim milk is water, but I don't know I stay at the top.
Well, there's 2%.
Yeah, there's
whole.
vitamin D.
Well, it's whole milk. Yeah.
Yes.
2%, and then there's skim milk.
Yeah. So, but non-fat, wouldn't that be skim
I think
milk?
that would be skim milk.
Yeah. Okay.
That's like drinking
so he's already
white
drinking
water.
it.
Yeah.
You're saying he waters Jerry's milk down even more.
Yes.
He pours out half of it and then waters it down. Oh, God.
Yeah, half and half.
God.
So she's like, he's like, I don't even remember what this conversation was. What was this conversation, Griff?
Oh, because she walks in and she's immediately frightened because there's a man sitting there and he's sneezing and he's coughing. He's got a red nose, so she's probably thinking he's high as fuck. And he's like, whoa. I'm with the police. And she's like, I'm going to call the police. I want to do that.
It's Robert Downey Jr. who broke into her house.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, and he just says, I wouldn't do that. She's like, I trust you now.
Yeah. Why wouldn't you? Because they don't know I'm here. How is that a comforting sentiment to this woman?
She just, like her boyfriend's maid and daughter had just been brutally raped, so she'd be on guard, you would think. But she's like, you have a trusting face.
Yeah, clearly you have a trusting face. And then he just throws out, Frank just throws out, aren't you wondering where Paul's disappearing to every night? And that does it for Jerry. She's like, I am wondering that. What has he been up to? Because we so cleverly just went ahead and skipped over a lot of these scenes. There is just random scenes of Jerry calling Paul's house nonstop. Right. This woman, like I said earlier, is obsessed with Paul. And so she is just calling him every moment she gets. Like, we see her at one scene reading a magazine. She gets through one sentence. We watch her finger follow along with the sentence. And then she calls Paul. One more sentence, calls Paul again. She's obsessed.
How many times would she have texted him? I mean, imagine if this film was made in the text world.
If it was made in the early 2000s when you had to pay for text, too. Oh, jeez, that phone bill.
Jeez.
Paul would have blocked her.
Paul would have blocked him.
So, basically, it sounds to me like Frank is cock blocking our boy Paul. He wants in on some. He wants to take some little bit of that Jerry, and so he's just making Paul look bad. He's like, "Hey, I'm just saying, your boyfriend's probably a vigilante murderer."
It's pretty interesting. Why don't you think about it? I believe. Help me with this. Does Frank follow Jerry right after this?
I think he knows. No, he knows where Paul lives because Paul stays at the same place. They have the crime report.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I did like Frank with the Banaka before. Well, he's getting close to her. He starts using the mouth spray on him. Yeah.
Oh,
he's moving on that lady.
I didn't even catch that. Didn't know that was a slide.
Well, like we
move.
all know, all middle-aged white ladies love serial killers. So this actually turns her on.
Oh yeah,
she wants Frank. Paul more.
I mean, if true crime podcasts were a thing back then, she would have been listening to all of them.
She'd be doing one. I mean, she is an investigative journalist.
That's a good point. Yeah,
much like we are.
Much like us. Yes.
So so she goes to Paul's. She happens to be there. He's just on his way to he's got his blazer on. He's just about to put on the stocking cap and do a night on the town. And then she walks in.
Doesn't have his stalker cap at home. He keeps that at the the Roach Motel. And but she does confront him, and she's like, "What is this I hear about 9 murders in New York?" Paul's just like, "What are you talking about?
Come on, baby.
Have you been talking to any detectives from the New York area? Maybe
the coke sniffle?
Yeah, Detective Frank." And she's like, "Yeah, I might have." He's just trying to get in your pants. Did he do the Bianca move on you?
Banaka? He's just a cock blocker, baby. You know I love you. Now, can you get the fuck out of my house? I got things to do.
What are you talking about? He says, why don't you cook me dinner and stay the night? Because he's got to smooth things over, Murray.
Oh, I forgot. Yeah, he's like, if I bang her, she'll do whatever I tell her to.
Exactly.
Go get the non-filled milk.
Yeah. Get that whole milk, baby. Tonight we're doing whole milk.
Yeah. Whole milk, baby. All the way.
It's not
much like we learned his cover for the ice cream, lactose intolerance. That's why he's doing the fucking scam.
That's
Jesus Christ. We're just so good at this. We stumble onto these facts. Oh, jeez. Not open up the wine. Get the whole fat milk out. Oh, God. So yeah, they have a nice little nice little night in together, get romantic with each other. I believe we wake up to the next morning with them in bed and in robes and everything.
I don't remember anything. Like
I think
that.
that's when she announces she's going on her big trip.
Which one? What was her big trip?
There's a birthday. Her
birthday
friend
party
has a birthday.
Yeah, they're going up to Carmel.
Yeah.
Which I love because it's a 5-hour road trip both ways.
But it's worth it because Clint Eastwood's the mayor.
It is.
And so
a clean connection.
So it's one of those middle-aged wine drinking lady type things.
Okay.
They're going to go up, drink wine, tell everybody in hearing distance they like wine. It's not funny, ladies. Stop with the wine jokes. And so Paul's like, "Great, you're out of my hair."
Yeah, he does feign. He's just like, "I thought you said you were all mine tonight." Oh, shucks. You'll be up in how long? Good. Stay there overnight. Get real drunk.
He's like, there's a lot of traffic coming up. It's like 3 a.m. when they're doing this. Like, maybe you should leave now. Avoid the traffic.
And so Frank is. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to point out, Paul seems to celebrate because he gets out his non-fat milk again. Because he doesn't want to get weighed down before vigilante night.
Just chugs the fucking,
But it is smart, put some easy calories in your belly and everything, drink to this is
he wants to do that challenge, drink a gallon of milk.
Oh, he wants to be part of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean non-fat milk in the 80s was pretty much the vitamin water of today.
Oh, that's a good point. I don't know why there isn't a milk vitamin water. I mean, it is
Merman Industries.
We're moving in on that. We're going to take on Big Coca-Cola because this is the scene, Murray.
Yes,
where we see him leave the milk out.
Yes, he's living dangerously, Griff. He's like, I'm gonna leave that out for a whole day, and I'm gonna drink it, see what happens.
Yeah. So we also have Frank on the move, and he's coordinating with the LAPD.
Cat and mouse.
And he's like, "Hey, take my car," because he drove his car all the way over from New York. Right. So Paul can still identify his car.
Because it's been 2 to 5 years.
2 to 5 years.
You don't get a new car between that time.
Oh, so he parks this LAPD guy.
Really, I'm thinking about that. Like, fucking Paul's going to recognize his car. Like, you have to even do this.
Well, I mean, Paul probably's memorized every car that Rent-A-Wreck offers, since he's needed for his cover, right?
That's got to be.
Do they still have Rent-A-Wreck?
I don't think so.
I've never even heard of it.
Oh yeah, it was like your low ball of renting a car from at the airport.
Okay.
So he does this thing where he has a cop buddy of his, like, make it look like you're me. Paul's he's got that milk. He's looking out the window. He's like, I see you.
Yeah.
I'm going to go out the back door.
All they had to do was pretend to be sneezing a lot. That was all the LAPD guy had to do to pretend to be.
Right.
Yeah. And so, Paul, this again, death wish move. He's like, I'll just go out the back door. But Frank's on
Which
him
he
this
did
time.
in the last movie.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, of course, Frank knows what to do
here. Yeah, because Frank, you're right, because Frank got tricked by it last. He's like, you're not going to do that with me this time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be by the back door.
So he's got his own little beater from the Wreck-It Ralphs or whatever you were calling
The Wreck-It Ralphs.
And he puts a tail on Paul and follows him over to, a bus stop where he jumps in a car. And Frank gets out and he gets into a cab now. Like, there's this exchange of vehicles that happens for this 8-minute scene.
Yeah.
It's too much.
It is. It's confusing and unnecessary because Paul makes like 5 different rides on buses.
And it was on one of the he gets out where he sees his gangs the gang that raped his daughter. He's like, I found them. They get on a bus, and so he gets on another bus, and he's trying to act nonchalant.
Well, wait, you got to point out these guys are they're breakdancing. Like, they got a song and dance routine they're working on.
Okay, that's right. He goes to the park,
right?
Yeah,
and Frank's
walks by Matt Pike from High on Fire, who's hitting on a lady. You tell it's Matt Pike because he's shirtless with shitty tattoos, and then he sees these guys.
This is Lawrence Fishburne.
Yeah, Cutter, Punk Cut, and Nirvana.
Yeah. And there's a little outdoor stage, and they got their boombox out, and they're all dancing up there. And
it's a very bizarre scene. These tough gangbangers, they're all dancing with each other and loving it.
Breaking two.
Breaking two. There we go. And And like our weird street where it's just full of gangs, but then every once in a while, just like some weird old couple, there is like a couple old couples like sitting around a fountain watching them dance, just waiting to be robbed, essentially. Like, it's such a bizarre scene. It's so bizarre.
But
I don't get how these guys operated without cell phones.
I guess they just hang out at the same places, you know?
They must, because it's like they're not even low profile guys. It's like we're waiting to make our deal, so why don't we stand on stage and start breakdancing? Because no one's gonna notice.
They're killing time because the big arms deal is like later on. That's at like 8:00. It's 7 right now. So like we got to kill some time.
And they were probably a little anxious about it, so they were dancing out their anxiety. You know, that's what I do.
And then they're gonna take a bus to go do their big deal.
I mean, public transportation is a big problem in America. I appreciate that these guys are trying to support it.
Yeah, they don't want their carbon footprint to be that big.
Yeah.
I mean, I think this is the most LA bus movie outside of Speed. I've been to LA and I don't recall ever actually seeing a bus near me when I was wandering around.
So they get on the bus. Paul follows them.
Yeah,
and then Frank is following them with a cab, and because they're scum, they're grabbing on a woman and just got off her like waitressing job. They're spray painting shit.
That's right. Yeah, they keep trying to look up her skirt, and like everybody's just like sitting there nonchalantly, just like, oh, that's too bad for that woman.
Paul is like hiding behind like a newspaper, peeking over.
He's got the 2 holes cut out of him. He's holding it up to his face.
And much like Cutter said, all black people look the same to him. All old people look the same to those guys because they don't recognize Paul.
They don't.
The guy they just beat the shit out of like 2 days ago.
Yeah, 2-3 days ago, maybe 5 years ago.
2 to 5 days ago.
Yeah.
And so they get off the bus. I guess they're having a drug deal at a monument park thing.
Yeah.
Because for some reason, they actually have the cab driver point out that it's a place for monuments.
Yeah.
Because Frank's like, what the fuck is this place?
Yeah, because he's asked the cab driver that, and he's like, oh, no one goes down there except drug dealers and Ginty sometimes. You hear his jowls firing up down there. It's awful. You don't want to be down there.
So Frank he pulls out a $10 bill, rips it in half, goes, here, you can have this half now, but you better stay here to get the other half. And I feel bad for that cab driver because we'll learn later he never gets the other half.
I wonder how long he waited.
Well, for $10, you'd wait a long time.
Wait a long time?
It was the 80s.
So yeah,
that was a lot of money back then.
So right, this is the arms deal. Our boys got the drugs. This guy with like fucking Mork and Mindy suspenders.
Yeah, the rainbow suspenders.
I thought it was Doug Henning without his wig on.
Well, Doug Henning let himself go. He has been drinking the whole milk because he's pretty fucking fat.
So he's probably drinking half and half.
Oh,
wow.
Jeez, that's heavy shit.
He's hardcore, man. He's buying drugs. He's dealing guns. He's gonna live radical and drink half and half.
He's got the Panama hat on. He's looking good. And he opens a trunk where you keep your fucking illegal arms.
All kinds of illegal guns. Not even a hidden compartment. They're just all there.
Right.
But he had a nice display with lights and everything. So you can't hide that.
Professional.
I mean, he rolls around in Angeltown. You can just walk. They driving around with Uzis hanging out the car in Angeltown. So it's not a big deal.
And you see the handoff of the drugs. Of course, they rub their gums with it. This is some good shit.
That's good shit, pal.
And while that's going on, our man Paul, he's watching, lurking in the woods.
Yep, you see him, just the moonlight hitting his face.
And you see Frank, he's lurking, watching Paul, watching them.
Yeah, it's the middle of the night, and his binoculars apparently are night vision goggles as well, because he's seeing everything perfectly clear. And yet, there is a man, as we're about to find out, because Frank notices it.
Because he's very well lit. With a spotlight on him.
He's got a spotlight attached to his rifle. How do you not notice the man in the tree with the flashlight shining it down in a perfectly dark park?
He's spotlighting deer.
He's canceling the deer for us.
He is. He's taking them out. He's like, you know what? I'm going to stand up here and I'm going to shine my light and I'm going to take out Bambi. That's it.
So this is Joe's favorite gang then.
Yes.
Yep.
The deer hunters is what they're called.
They are.
And so the the gangs, they're like, all right, we're taking these guns, whatever. And then the fucking sniper notices Paul, and Frank noticed the sniper noticing Paul. He goes, look out!
Everybody takes cover. Guns are opening up. Paul starts firing in the direction of the drug deal. I don't even who gets the guy out of the tree. I don't even know.
Did we point out that Punk Cut paid with his money out of a fanny pack?
We didn't mention
was
that,
the
but
best.
I didn't even know fanny packs were a thing in the early 80s. I'm learning something.
You know what? I got an argument earlier because that Wonder Woman 84 movie, and they have a fanny pack joke in it. I was like, wait, I don't recall fanny packs in 84. I had a friend who was making them like in 88 or something, but I guess it was something, you know what? It's an LA thing for your drugs. That's probably where it came from. And by the way, here's what I don't really get about this whole deal is how are these guys going to get their guns home since they took the bus to make the deal and they don't seem to have any bags or anything? It's like, were they going to stick the automatic rifles into the fanny pack too?
Joe, didn't we learn anything from this movie? It's like Wild West out here.
It is.
You can just carry guns on a bus.
I mean, your odds are low. There's only like a 200 or 300 person population around here too,
right?
And we're talking like 2 a.m. So there's not going to be that many people out,
right?
Yeah. No, and you know what? Probably the bus driver willing to swap his own rod for one of them.
There we go.
It's a big swap gun show.
The sniper unloads on fucking Frank. Just like Frank is just shredded meat. That sparks the killing lust in Paul, so he just starts shooting.
Yeah, he's shooting at everybody. I believe Rainbow Suspenders gets to the car and takes off. You got all kinds of
yeah, because the guys are trying to hide behind his car. He's like, fuck, I haven't paid this car off yet. So he's like, I gotta get the fuck out of here. Cutter, Clarence Fishburne, not a very smart move. He's like, a boombox is gonna protect me.
I mean, he was smart enough to know he needed to protect himself. So he holds the boombox over his face and he's walking backwards very slowly. And yeah, he gets shot through the boombox.
Yeah, right into his face.
Pretty impressive. Yeah, it's a good shot. But we know Paul's a crack shot. So.
And then Rainbow Trout starts driving off, leaving Punk Cut defenseless. He gets shot in the dick. Rainbow gets shot. There happens to be a cliff, just happens to be right by where they're doing the deal. Goes off the cliff, car explodes. So Rainbow's dead. Everybody's dead. But Nirvana gets away.
Yeah.
I like to point out, I cried when the boombox died because that was the movie's most sympathetic character.
He didn't rape anybody. You're right.
The boombox didn't deserve the sad fate. And, it was just harsh.
Oh, Paul, the cops, for first time in this movie, the cops are actually showing up now. We hear the sirens.
Yeah.
Did Paul get hit at all, or is he fine? I don't remember.
I don't remember if he gets hit in this scene, but I do know he goes over to... Oh, go ahead.
He does. I believe he was bleeding at one point as he was trying to get home.
Yes, he had got hit somewhere. He gets hit a few times in this movie, which is surprising. But he does go... I do know he goes over to Frank as the sirens are getting closer, and he's like, it was you! And they, have a moment. I don't remember what they really say.
Well, Frank's just like, with his dying breath, get those motherfuckers for me.
Yeah.
It was like the win one for a Gipper speech from the Newt Rockets.
Right.
It was that moving.
And it inspired Paul.
So we pay more close attention here to the cops who they have Punk Cut because he was shot, but he's just dying. So Punk Cut he's about to die. He's like, I got to fess everything. And he gives away Nirvana, where he's at, what his real name is. I think it was Charles Wilson or something.
Charles Nelson Riley.
Charles Nelson Riley.
Charlie Wilson's War. That's what it was.
Charlie Wilson's War.
Yeah, he just punks out. He should be called Punk. Yeah, he's Punk because he's a punk.
Yeah.
He just gives up all. He's like, I tell you where his mom lives, whatever you need to know. And while he's telling them, because he wants to be saved, because they're like grabbing his dick, squeezing it, like, you tell us, or you're not getting any medical attention. And as soon as he gives up all the information, he dies. He bleeds out.
And no time. Oh, go ahead.
He saved us 20 minutes of movie, though, by punking out like that.
I agree.
People, screenwriters, this is how you get that sweet 90 minutes.
We need it. We need the 90 minutes more than ever. All right, so we go to the next day, and the police, now that they know his name, Charles Wilson Nelson Riley, right out of the Match Game. That was Charles Nelson Riley, right? Yeah.
Right.
And we're the next day, Paul is driving over to Charles' house as well. He learned where he lived, so he's going to head over to get him. And he's
he learned I lived because he had a police scanner.
He got a police scanner.
He went to the radio station, and they're like doing their investigative journalism. Like, oh, another killing going on. I love it. If it bleeds, it leads.
True crime.
And he's like, hey, what? I've noticed those police scanner things. Can I borrow one? Sure. Here we got one. Like very suspicious, but they're like, yeah, whatever.
Okay, so this is what the police radio is what leads Paul to it. And as he's driving up, he's seeing all the cops hiding behind corners and everything.
Well, they're not really hiding. You can totally see
I was just going to say, it's the middle of the day. There's cops with rifles on rooftops, just in their black.
For just some street punk. Like
for a street punk, yeah. Jeez, a little intense, guys. So we watch Paul drive around as he's noticing all this, and then he like parks around the corner, and he starts going up the rooftop, and he even gets noticed by the police. And they're like, did one of our guys go on the roof? No. Whatever. No big deal. So we follow Paul into the building.
You see Charles Nelson Riley, he's got 2 babes on his arms.
He's walking on
he forgot about all his friends. He doesn't care. He's scum.
Well, yeah. He's living that gang lifestyle.
Was he wearing like sunglasses with one lens missing? I can't remember.
He had a blacked out lens.
Okay.
I believe that's what he had going on here. Blacked out lens and then
lazy eye? Is that what he had?
I don't know.
So, anyways, he's going to get laid. He's got 2 babes with him.
Yeah, he's got 2.
He went to a place where it's $75 a month, so he's really treating these babes good.
And he got the clean sheets.
Yeah, he paid extra, $5 extra for those clean sheets.
He paid an extra $2 for the clean pillow.
Got the clean pillow too. A real pillowcase and everything.
Plus the resort fees. They have resort fees.
And a couple bucks for the deadbolt.
Yeah, it's like, if you want to use the swimming pool, resort fee right now.
So Paul, he knows better than the cops.
I mean, as soon as he enters the building, you already hear a woman screaming. You thought they were prostitutes or something coming, to get paid and have some sex.
I thought Paul, he went up like a separate building, and he's like up on the roof.
Yeah, he did. Like I said, he gets on the roof, and the cops notice him, and they're like, "Who the fuck is on the roofs?" And then they're just like, "Yeah, well, we'll wait it out.
Maybe he'll do our job for us."
Exactly. They do know a vigilante's on the loose, so they're probably like, "I'll do the murder for us." So Paul comes in, he hears the scream, so he immediately knows where Charles or Nirvana's room's going to be.
Charles Nirvana
Riley just has to follow the screams, and one girl's running out, and he's like chasing her, like trying to grab her by the hair or something. And Paul pulls out his gun on him and shoots at him and gets hit in a crossfire, I believe. Because I thought Paul got hurt in this situation.
I don't know. I don't think he might have had a knife. I don't think Charles Nirvana Riley had a gun.
Okay. This whole scene's a blur. All I remember, I am this woman. We run by the room, and the second lady is just sitting there topless with headphones on, just humming to herself. Yeah. And that's all I remember.
She was just there because Michael Winter wanted a chick with big tits, so throw it in there.
She got her SAG card. She got her SAG card, and that's what matters most.
So Nirvana just runs out. The cops are like, I guess we got to do our job. He didn't do it for us. So they surround the place. And then Nirvana must have been on some P2P.
He was.
Not PCP, P2P.
Yeah, they say, this motherfucker's on P2P.
That's the hard shit. If you ever seen Stone Cold, that's the hard shit.
It's the hardest shit.
And he's just pummeling the shit out of cops.
Yeah. He's taking the baton hits to the back of his head.
He gets hit with a taser and just fucking rips him out.
Yeah. That taser was fucking huge. The little node that attached to him.
It was a blood sport taser.
There we go.
Oh.
And they finally subdue him. They put the knee on his neck. That's how you subdue a person. And they get him down. And Paul's like, shit, I wanted to kill him. Revenge! But he got hurt, I think, like we said, or maybe we're all remembering wrong.
I think the best part is the cops dogpile the guy. They dogpile Nirvana there, and then after they dogpile him, somehow he gets up and he assumes the position against the car. It was like, oh well, you got me. Like
I was just pissed off they didn't use the bowling sound from American Ninja 2 when he ripped up from the dog pile. That would have been really.
I mean, it was you could barely see it. It was like in the little corner, but it was just like there he is leaning up against the edge of a squad car with his hands on it. And you're just like, really? This is how it ends? Oh well.
He's coming
going
down from the high.
Yeah. You think he was taking some Prevagen? Because that stuff I heard is pretty good.
I don't know what his cat tranquilizers. I don't know what he's taking.
So we get a cut back over to Paul. What's he up to? He's been, I believe he was harmed in this situation.
I think he got cut.
Yeah, and he goes back to.
He did. He got cut, like his arm got a big slash.
Yeah. And he went back to his own house instead of his Roach Motel room.
Well, there's no bathroom there.
Oh, yeah,
he had to share the bathroom. He just has a room.
There's a communal bathroom. Yeah.
Well, he did have a sink. He had a sink in the room.
Oh, okay. So we could have washed up in there.
He could have washed up in the sink, but I think unfortunately you only get fresh water on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Oh, you know what? That makes sense. Just like watering your lawn. Yeah, there's a water shortage or whatever the situation is. So probably just to move add some tension, move the script along here. He goes back to his house where Jerry happens to show up. She's always so inconveniently showing up.
Oh yeah, because I think he actually slipped up and gave her a key for the.
Yeah, after they made up, he's like, he's been murdering again, so he's got his libido back, and he's like, I gotta get that tail in my life, I gotta keep her around. So he's like, here's the new key, keep coming over, keep showing up. That was right before she went to Carmelo for wine drinking with the ladies.
Carmelo Anthony for wine drinking.
Carmel by the sea, baby. Yeah. Taking some jazz.
Yeah, but here's the thing. She came back early because she's like, all they want to talk about is wine. I'm not, I'm cooler than that. I'm the cool friend.
Yeah.
So
I asked them if they drank non-fat milk, and they said no. And I was like, you know what? You're not my people. I'm out of here.
So he's like trying to get her out because he's bleeding profusely.
I don't think he gets her out because I'm pretty sure he cleans up or whatever. And then a second later walks out of his bathroom. And he's still bleeding onto his floor and everything.
Yeah, that's when he gets rid of her. He is still bleeding.
He does. Okay.
Because she comes in when he's cleaning his the cutoff.
Okay, he does get rid of her. Because I just remember we get a scene of them watching the court case, and they're both in their robes, and they both have glasses on the tips of their noses, like reading newspapers and listening to the radio and everything. And we get to learn.
Yeah, because she's there for her job. She's like a reporter. And he's just there because this guy raped his daughter. And I think his maid, or does he care anymore? No, he doesn't care. No. And of course, this is why we got to get rid of these liberals, Griff.
Yeah,
because they're like, he's sick. He needs to just go away for a couple weeks, detox, and he'll be a upstanding citizen again.
That's all it's going to take. Just a couple sessions and
no punishment. We don't punish criminals in America anymore. Get a spa treatment and then let him loose.
And I believe how we're gonna get Paul closer to Charles Wilson, Nirvana Riley, is Jerry is actually going to interview him, or was she going to interview the doctor?
She's just doing a piece on the rehabilitation.
Okay,
criminals.
Because she's like, yeah, I'm working with that ward. Do you want to go there? And Paul's like, yes, get me in there. Send it in.
Yes, he's like the perfect crime, So he's happy, she's happy, Nirvana's happy. By the way, the case 1 hour.
That's all.
They're like, yeah, just lock him up in a spot treatment.
We have no time. The courts we're packed.
I mean, that was pretty fast. You figure out he gets busted and he goes straight to a full trial in what 10 minutes?
Yeah. I guess in the early 80s, the justice system moved a lot faster than it does nowadays.
They were just waiting for it. They were just waiting for people to show up for trials. They had empty courtrooms and judges just stand there and lawyers who had cases, and that's it. He's nuts. He's nuts, Your Honor. Send him to the nut house.
Paul is so outraged. He's like, why don't you get a pearl necklace for that black dress you're wearing? He screams at the judge,
Classic
Wings
joke.
line.
Yeah, classic joke.
And Well, it was. I think Normad was the judge.
I did see Norman.
I'm gonna let you off this one time.
Well,
because I like the cut of your shades. Get even, people. Listen to that episode. So yeah, once again, the pussy ass liberal fucking law system that we have, it's not fucking warehousing people in prisons like it does. They're just letting them go.
Well, you'll be happy to know that every single character Paul meets in this movie agrees with you. Because we go over to the psych ward.
Right.
And Paul, he's thinking like James Bond, and he's got the face of an 80-year-old Sean Connery as well. He's like, where's the bathroom? And they point it out, and he's like, great, I'm going to go take, Vinish. And, they leave him alone. They give him his privacy.
Like Jimmy Stewart at the end. Like, right. I'm going to take a shit.
Either way, it sounded like not me doing an awful,
So, yeah, and I love how they end. Why do they end this scene? It's all cut right. Wait, no. Cut left. Like,
Michael Winner knows what makes good movie, like padding.
Bathroom routes,
Yeah, exactly. So. That really put me in the scene, though, because I was like, if I go that psych ward now, I know. Go down to the right.
No, go to the left.
Oh, you go to the left?
And the thing is, I think actually he went to the right. That was the funniest thing about it. But he sees, it says a big sign that says doctor dressing room or something.
Yeah.
So he just walks in. He looks like a doctor. He's old. Steals a lab coat. He stole the whole coat. That's right, he did. He took the coat and the little lanyard or whatever, the ID. Goes home. Because apparently this is like a big piece that Jerry's going to be there for a week, so he's got an in for a week. So he's going to be back.
Yeah. So while he's working on this, he's also got to keep Jerry, cool. Again, he's got his libido back, so he needs to keep that steady tail coming in.
He's got his groove back, Griff.
He's got his groove back. So much so that he's ready to move on to the second stage of the relationship, or third stage. I don't know what the marriage stage is, but he takes her out to a big fancy dinner, and he gets the most expensive champagne around, which I can't think of an expensive
Dom
champagne.
Perignon.
Dom Perignon.
Yeah. What was it, like $8 a dribble or something like that?
Yeah, he pointed that out. He's like, "Oh, you just spilled $8 worth."
Yeah.
Woo!
Imagine how much non-fat milk he could have bought for that one bottle of Dom Perignon.
He did have a little. I noticed that little glass of milk next to it.
And it's California, so of course they're having sushi.
Yeah. It's kites everywhere too. I like the symbolism there.
And she's excited because not only is she going to marry the most beautiful man in L.A., she's got the cover story of whatever this fucking magazine she works for. I don't even remember what it was. And so she's just like, "You made me the most luckiest woman in the world." He winks at the camera. We know what Paul's doing. Paul goes home. What's going on with Paul? He couldn't just write a fucking name to fit. He was constantly screwing up. He can make up any name, and he can't make it fit for some reason on this little
Let's point out that he proposes to her. She agrees, of course, and he says, "Here's the deal. In 3 days, we're leaving to Mexico.
Acapulco.
We're going to get hitched there. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. We're going to do this." And she's just like, "What do I do in this situation?" He's like, "You look pretty. And you know what to do when we get to the bedroom." So that's all he's probably trying to recreate the beach scene.
Yeah, good.
He's going to try to fuck her on the beach.
So I guess it's all planned out. Then I'm going to murder this guy, and then I'm going to leave the town because I've cleaned up L.A. I've checked my list of all the rapists. I'm ready to go. Move on to the next one. Because apparently from right here, Mexico's not a very safe country. So maybe he's really getting excited.
He's going to open shop in Mexico too.
Right, and the cops really don't do shit in Mexico, so he loves that idea. So, like I said, he's trying to forge this. He gets the ID card and he whites it out and then goes to the Xerox machine.
Yeah, he whites everything out.
I don't get how he's so horrible at forging these things. He's supposedly this big time architect. You figured out some hand-eye coordination that would work with a pen.
Yeah.
I didn't even consider that.
And you can put any name you want in it. He's not even trying to use a doctor's name. He's just making a name up.
Yeah,
Dr.
I thought he
didn't figure it out.
Dr. McChilly.
Dr. McKilly, or
McKilly.
Dr.
He's having a
Deathwishy.
tough time about it. apparently his eyes are going. All that milk something. I don't know.
But the point is, he's at home trying to doctor this up, and he's failing over and over. So he's crumpling the paper and just like chucking it over his shoulder everywhere. So his apartment's littered with little forged IDs to this psych ward.
But he finally gets it right.
It's just beautiful. Chili McFreeze.
Chili
The
McFreeze.
best doctor's name.
And so now he's ready to go. It took him 3 days, it took 2 of them just to get that ID right.
I was like, hey, it's pretty good for a guy who didn't know who vowels were at the beginning of the film, so he had to work on that.
So he drives over in his T-Bird to the psych ward.
Mm-hmm.
The people at the gate just let him in. They're just like, you look like you got the doctor's coat. You must be a doctor.
Doctor's coat, yeah.
Is it just me, or did that not look like the same psych ward entrance from the Halloween movies?
I don't remember if I at that point I might have been just like focused on my notes or something. I didn't notice anything interesting about the psych ward.
The same little gate thing or whatever, just wave them through. You know what? We'll let strangers through, and we'll let the patients drive away, on their own. So we're all good.
Strangers through at 3 a.m. It's like late at night.
Yeah, it is.
And he's like, I am Charles Nirvana Riley's doctor. I'd like to speak with him. Well, this is highly irregular. Do you have appointment or anything? I'm very busy. It's 3 a.m. I need to get home to have my warm milk before I go to bed. And she's like, well, that sounds like you sound important. Well, go right in. He's right there at the, I guess this is the place where the criminally insane are because it's blocked off.
Yeah.
Like caged off.
And there's a man sitting on the other side of the cage.
And he's like,
so he's got he's got to talk to this guy and get him to let him through. And he drops a name on him. He's like,
this what happens is he's reading a book. It has a big sticker on it that says, this is Robert Bly or whatever's book.
Yeah.
And he looks out. I'm supposed to meet a Mr. Bly. Is that you? And he's like, that is me. Well, that sounds like kosher. Come on in.
That's what I do with every book I own. Is I put a big sticker on it that says this belongs to Griff.
And while they let Paul in, a nurse comes in. He's like, oh, by the way, nurse, if you ever get locked in here, 3600 is the key to get out of the keypad. Just drops that little knowledge on Paul. And then Paul barely remembers it later on, too.
He's old.
But he's like...
He also does get in the fight of his life in a minute here, so it makes sense.
Right. So we get a little thing, and more social commentary from the
guard.
He's like, he's like, what's that over there? It's giant fucking Star Trek computer display.
Yeah, he's taking him to the room where he's going to interview, because he's supposed to be like doing a little interview with Charles, or therapy or whatever you want to call it. And he sees a giant computer, Star Trek computer, all that
real tapes on it,
all kinds of things. They just wanted to make this look as sophisticated as possible. And Bronson points it out. He's like, "Oh, what's this over here?" And the guy's like, "That's the old electronic, therapy
electroshock
machine.
Therapy."
Yeah.
And he's like, the good old days when we just do that to crazy people. And he's like, now we got to treat them.
We used to get to do the frontal lobotomies. You got to do all the good science. They're taking all the good science. They canceled good science.
So the orderly brings Charles Nirvana Riley in. He's like, "You gonna need me?" "No, it's okay. A little privacy."
We even get to see the guard go back and enjoy food for like a minute while he was reading his book. He's just murmuring it, reading it to himself.
Well, and we get to see a little Henny Youngman. Henny Youngman's big cameo.
Yes, we do.
And the only thing older than Charles Bronson, his jokes.
That's probably why they put it in there. It's like, something's got to be older than me.
Make me look swell. Make me look sexy. Henny Youngman, come up next to me. Chicks will go all crazy now. Little Burl might be too tempting for the ladies. Give me Henny.
So I think immediately Paul pulls out a gun as soon as the guard walks out the doorway.
Yeah. Charles comes in, he's getting ready to sit down, and then Paul pulls out the gun, and Charles was waiting for this. It didn't seem like he recognized Paul at all, but he's just been in so many dangerous situations before. He immediately just instinctively grabs the table and flips it up, which alters, the trajectory of the bullet. And now we're in this close quarters combat, and Paul's an 80-year-old man And Charles is a
Wait a minute. As we learned on his license, he's 45 years old.
Oh. So,
even though he's 60 when he was filming this. Bronson actually thought he could play a guy 2 years younger than me at this movie. Okay, whatever.
Joe, I think this is getting to your question that you had very early on in the episode when you were asking why he was not concerned about his wallet and his cards. Based on the age alone, everything about this identity is fake aside from his name.
It's not real,
age, weight, height. So I think all those cards are fake as well, and that's why he's like, I don't give a shit. I'll just make a new identity.
You're telling me
it'll take him days to do it.
You're telling me he's going to go and get himself another Players International card from Telly Savalas with a new name on it? Oh, I'm shocked.
Yeah, Griff, we've learned it took him 2 days to write a name to fit on a line. How long is he going to get this fake ID going?
What do you think he's been doing those 2 to 5 years? He's just been working on getting in. So, yeah, he has to restart a little bit, but it's all right. He got a lot of murder in the meanwhile.
He's like
so
the
Nirvana just happened.
Yes.
Nirvana just happens to have a shiv in his shoe.
I love this fight is great, by the way. I really like this fight. It's like I said, it's close quarters. They're like throwing each other against. Well, it's Charles throwing Chuck against a bunch of walls and everything. He's beating the shit out of him.
As in real life.
Yeah,
a guy half his age would kick
exactly.
His ass.
And who knows? Maybe that P2P hasn't completely worn off yet. Maybe it's like acid, or how they say it's stuck in your spine, and sometimes you'll crack your back and it'll hit you again. Maybe that's what happened with P2P, and he got adrenaline rush, and then it hit him. But yeah, he reaches down into his shoe and pulls out a shiv.
And just fucking stabs the shit out of Charles.
Yeah, very, very precisely in one spot.
Well, he's a pro.
Yeah, he's a pro.
Somehow they stumble towards the electroshock wall of computers.
Yeah, Charles throws him back over there, and at this point, Paul is just like a mess. He's been stabbed a bunch of times. He's bleeding. His face is swelling up even more than usual, and it's looking like things are just about to be over for Paul here.
Well, until Nirvana's, I guess he's going for the knockout punch. Punches at Paul. Paul ducks. He punches into the electroshock machine, like elbow deep.
Yeah, it was like a monitor that he punches through, and yeah, he just gets sucked into it.
And then, see, now if they made this movie nowadays, it would take CGI people 6 months to get this effect. What they do is they just blow a fan in his face to his hair, so his hair goes up, like he's being shocked, and he gets shocked and he dies.
It was very loud too.
Right,
well, he gets shocked after Paul flips the giant power switch.
Yeah,
it just said power, and it was like
it was the Dr. Frankenstein switch,
which makes no sense why this much power was going through the part with the little monitor screen that was already lit up.
I'm still trying to figure out how this was an electroshock thing. I've seen those; they're not like a giant wall of shit.
Yeah, I can't imagine
because Michael Winter doesn't need to be told what electroshock therapy machines look like, okay?
Hey, you know what? I'm okay with this. I'll suspend my disbelief for a while here. I'll buy this shit. They stuck to it. I'll stick to it. I'm fine with that.
I don't know an electroshock machine. I don't know what it really looks like,
It's true.
It's
true.
I might buy one if it looks like that, though, because I was pretty bitching.
I hope you have a lot of room to keep it somewhere.
Right.
I do.
I'm room for it.
I'm moving into the children's nursery. That's a good space for it. Kids love electroshock therapy.
Get out.
Builds character.
Kids really do.
It keeps them docile.
That's right.
So the orderly finally says, "Hey, what's going on in here?"
Yeah,
I'm trying to eat. I'm trying to read.
I loved how this was set up because Paul just gets up and he starts walking towards the door.
I thought he collapses in a chair. He's like fucked up.
He walks towards the door, and there's the guard staring at him, not saying a word.
He's going, like shaking his finger.
And Paul goes over and just stumps over in that chair, and then he starts.
He's like, he raped and killed my daughter. No, he didn't kill your daughter. We don't even know if he raped her. We didn't see that.
Yeah, he was just hamming it up for this guy,
right? And the guy's just like,
I read about you.
You're actually in this book I got.
There we go.
And he's like, 3 minutes. It's all I can give you. And then I'm going to hit the alarm. And then Paul gives that little devilish grin. I get it. And gets up, stumbles out, covered in blood. Like, nobody would. Okay, this is like maximum security, like criminally insane people. There's a guy drenched in blood, staggering out, and no one's going to be like, hey, that's odd.
Well, it's LA.
maybe-
They probably performance artist, it's performance artist, or maybe it's a doctor who's also, he's got to head back to the set.
There
he's
we
a
go.
technical advisor on, Starsky and Hutch.
All comes back to Starsky and Hutch.
It does. It does.
Starsky and Hutch.
I just feel bad that he doesn't even mention Rosario. It's like he killed my daughter and Rosario. No, we'll skip Rosario. We don't need her.
She doesn't exist.
No.
I mean, he would have had to really lie and say, my other daughter Rosario or my sister Rosario, because just saying, my maid Rosario was also horribly raped, and that doesn't sell. People won't buy that. They don't care.
It's LA. We go through staff so fast,
So he hurries back to his flop house hideout.
Yep, he's got to clean up because
I would get. He's been stabbed repeatedly. You got to get medical attention for that. You've been stabbed. No, he's just gonna put a little Band-Aid on.
It was a giant gauze Band-Aid. Okay,
I don't give a shit. You gotta have that shit sewed up. You're not gonna stop it with gauze.
I just love.
He had some Bactine. Didn't he have some Bactine?
Oh, okay, that helped.
There we go.
Iodine.
Yeah.
He probably has a collapsed lung, but he's just like, I'll just get through it.
And who knows where that guy's been hiding his shiv half the time, right? I mean, that's
right. Up his ass, probably.
Yeah, up his ass. That's not good for your wounds.
I just love this because he's obviously bleeding horribly, and the way he set up his whole trip to Mexico is right after this because he figured he's going to have to flee the police and everything. So he's got this all arranged so he can flee the country immediately. He has to hurry back home where Jerry is meeting him. We're we just saying that it was 3 a.m.?
Yeah.
So they're getting up at 3:30 to fly over to Mexico. Like, nothing's weird about this at all.
Griff, if you get early.
This is a good point.
Right. He's very thrifty.
This is a good point.
But I love the tension of this scene because it's like he's got to get home. Then of course there's an accident that stops him. So Jerry gets there first.
Yeah.
And she sees all these balls of paper strewn everywhere, and she's like, "What the fuck, Rosario? Oh wait, yeah, Rosario's dead. I forgot about her." She's like expecting Rosario to clean this up. So she's like, well, I guess I'll have to clean it up. And she picks up one of those wadded paper, opens it up. She sees that childlike scrawl of a name. She's like, wait, what's going on here? Is he a vigilante?
I mean, she knows about the 9 murders, so it's like she knew he was a vigilante.
So she takes off that engagement ring and puts it right on the wadded up paper and right next to the milk. It's still out.
It's still out.
And she just walks out of his life forever because she's the real life wife of Charles Bronson and she ain't getting murdered.
Yeah. And you know what? Also, she's going to think about him every time she sees non-fat milk.
Right. She's like, I could have had the most wonderful man in the world.
Paul's face might as well be on the side of that carton because that.
he is missing because he takes off.
Yeah.
Okay,
does she stick to the low fat or does she go back to?
She goes straight half and half.
Oh, Jesus.
She's 100 pounds heavier now because she's just drowning her sorrow so that she can't have that fucking Braunschlong anymore.
Oh,
my favorite part of this whole scene, of course, is when he's stuck in at the red light with all the people. Anyways, he's trying to, Ferris Bueller get home early. And Excalibur is playing at the Man's Chinese Theater. And that just, I miss Excalibur. But anyway, enough of that. Let's talk about non-fat milk. and by the way, wouldn't an architect like Paul have a paper shredder in his house?
No.
He's old-fashioned. He usually used the fireplace, but it was a really warm night, and he didn't want to get a fire going to destroy the evidence that he probably really should have been getting rid of. So,
And I also loved all the ducks on his trash can. I mean, it was like a little hunting moment right there. It's like it went with the macrame owls they has hanging up in the house so perfectly.
He's got nature themes going on, man. He's a big fan of the wetlands and owls and macrame art.
He learned about conservation from Ames from the first movie.
There we go. Yeah.
When he's chopping away on those, chopping away on the wood there. he wants to be in that space.
Yeah.
So what do you do when your fiance leaves you, Jill leaves you at the altar? You go back to work. This is what Paul does.
Yeah, I mean, his wife gets killed, he goes back to work. His daughter gets raped, he goes back to work. His daughter gets killed, raped and killed again, goes back to work. So yeah, of course, Paul just buries himself in the architectural business.
I'm glad the scene was added because we finally learned, did they go for marble or concrete?
Yes.
And
4 different times we get asked about, we have to be filled in about what he's doing with work.
And guys, they went with marble. They
expensive.
Yeah, but only the best for this guy's wife.
KABC, man. They weren't going cheap.
So he's like, hey, we're having a little party later on. Which you gonna show up? You're the life of the party. I mean, you're just chugging the milk. Paul's like, sure. What else do I have to do? Zoom in on that leathery face. He winks. Oh, he's got to do Death Wish 3.
Death
Is what
Wish
he's got
3.
to do.
So he's back with his true love, guns and Jimmy Page guitar solos.
Isn't that everyone's true love, though?
It is.
No.
Non-fat milk.
Nice, sweet, non-fat milk.
I'm going to drink some vitamin D milk right after this.
So
Just
can
to
I wrap
get
up
that-
about Julian?
Yes, you can.
Okay, so Julian, it turns out, even though he was co-editor on this film, pretty much he was doing the assembly cut 5 days during the shoot was set up. So he was assembling the scenes for 5 days, Monday to Friday on his own. And then Michael Winner would show up on Saturday and Sunday and cut on the days they weren't shooting. And then when they did an assembly cut about a week after they wrapped, and Michael Winner said, well, I'm gone. And he took the film and left, and Julian had nothing to do. It was just, he had no actual artistic input on anything. He just put together like Winner shot it, and Winner took it to England, made the music with Jimmy Page and stuff and brought it back. Next time he saw it was the cast and crew screening. And Julian was so disturbed and disheartened by the film that he apologized to Lawrence Fishburne for, being in the film. It was just, it was not a good thing. He did not love the film in any way, shape, or form. And it's one of those films he doesn't talk about. I think he'd rather talk about making Motel Hell more than this film.
Yeah.
Did he try to get his name off of the film? Because it really wasn't his work,
Nah. Well, it was a co-thing. He didn't even know the crust business until later. But yeah, it was, I guess if it was a solo thing, he'd be upset. But, you want to get paid and you want your name in the film. But later Julian would go he was supposed to go, originally Cannon told him he was going to cut some other movie. And of course, after this, they said no. And then he did get, he was brought on originally to help recut Cyborg, except he had a giant blow up with Jean-Claude Van Damme, and thus he never got to splice it apart. So that was the Julian Smillian tales that I got from him about Death Wish 2.
Damn,
In Cyborg or
I don't know if they're going to be able to do it.
Okay, I can hear you.
I don't
again.
want to see our friends go.
Oh,
Okay.
we went missing for.
We were just talking shit about you. Don't worry about it.
Oh, okay.
No, Joe, right off the bat, your first shot, you hit a home run.
Oh, thank you there.
How is anybody can compete? I guess guests that are coming up, you better fucking do your homework. You better be ready. You better be ready to bring it.
Taffy's going to denounce me. I know Taffy's going to, because she's got her cult. The cult of Taffy's going to, just blow this away. But still, long time listener, first time caller. What can I say? It's been a trip, an enjoyable fun.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, we appreciate that. But Griff, next week, Death Wish 4.
We already did 3.
The
Gotta go over to
Crackdown.
4. Yeah.
Yeah, we already did 3. If everyone's like, well, what the fuck? What happened to 3? We've already done it. And if you want to listen to it, the easiest way is to go on our YouTube, because we only have like 50 or so. Yeah, 150 fucking other things. So
Any which way is pretty easy, but
no, trust me, if it ain't the easiest, people won't listen. They're like, well, if I click it on and I got to scroll down more than like 2 inches, fuck you. So I would recommend our YouTube, because it's got, I think one of our greatest bits of all time, the Charles Bronson sex toy, the Magnificent Seven, I think is what we call it.
I think, yeah.
You'll learn all about the Braun Schlong, 10 Inches of Midnight, and I forget I got to go listen to it because it's so good. I
It's been a
forgot
while,
about
yeah.
it. But next week, we're taking a trip across the pond, Griff. We're talking to our old buddy Stewart, who hasn't been. When's the last time he was on? Was it Speed 2?
I think it might have been Speed 2. That sounds right.
So I'm looking forward to that. Joe, great job. I appreciate you doing this for us. I think this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship. I think you're going to be back on.
Absolutely.
Here for you, man. It's been great.
We'll figure out something. We'll get you back on, bud.
Cool.
Yeah. So we'll see you next week for Death Wish 4, The Crackdown. And as always, keep it warm.